Hey there, folks. I've got good news. Ah, fuck, I've got bad news, too. My slippers aren't in here. Really? Fuck. I must have left them downstairs. Well, I've got good news also. We don't have the lighting set up just yet, but I finally figured out how to get my new DSLR camera working proper. Feast your eyes on true 60 FPS HD 14K Blidio. Look at the movement. Oh my god. Now, the lighting's not set up perfectly yet. We need to get some ring lighting behind the camera, but right now I have the contrast turned down to compensate for the poor lighting conditions. But yeah, check it out. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, the color grading is bad, but that's to compensate for the lighting. The lower the contrast is, the easier it is for me to get away with poor lighting. If I turn the contrast up, it makes everything look nice and bright, don't get me wrong. However, there are consequences. Yeah, check out this frame rate. Look. Damn, I'm right here. I'm right here. We can do some live edits to the video. Here, hold on. We can up the color temperature. Like that, maybe? No, I kind of like it down a little bit lower. You know what? I like it like this, honestly. Beautiful. Some of us remember when you streamed with earbuds. I still have earbuds. I still have this. What do you want from me? Anyway, the ring lighting should be arriving in less than a week, and once it does, I'll have like the proper setup, you know? The camera will be right there, it'll be pointed down at me, there's going to be that ring of fluorescent light, it's gonna be real fucking shiny, okay? Can I speak Hebrew? That's as close as I can get. DPSD, thank you so much for the gifted tier 1 sub to Anarchist Analysis with the spread the dicks message. That's true. That is true. True. And DPSD with the even more generous and extremely appreciated $20 donation. Thank you so much, comrade. I really appreciate that. It may be the day after Thanksgiving, but you definitely are worth the wait. All of us love you, Vosh, and we're grateful to have your thickness on our screens yelling at fascists. Love, DPSD. I'm so glad you signed it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known who handed it to me. Thank you so much, comrade. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, I promised that I would do a Thanksgiving stream, but things just didn't pan out. So I thought we could do a nice... We could compensate. We could compensate for my failures by having an after Thanksgiving stream. And there's so much we can talk about. Comrades, what did you do for Thanksgiving? Now, listen, okay, hold on. If you're non-American, I understand. In the immediate sense, this might not be relevant to your interests, but stick around, okay? This will get relevant. For Thanksgiving, what did you do? Hit me up. Tell me. I'll talk about it here. So for my Thanksgiving, originally my folks were going to come up here, but ticket prices got real fat, real poofy, you know. So rather than do that, they stayed back in California, and my girlfriend and I just made a meal. By which I mean my girlfriend made a meal, and I just watched. Here, wait. I got pictures of the food. Hold on. I don't know how well this will show up on the new camera because it's manual focus. It won't show up very well at all. That's what it's going to do. Well, we have mashed potatoes. We got a big old turkey. Big old turkey, 16 pounds. And some goddamn stuffing, all right? Listen, it was real fucking good. It was real fucking tasty. I enjoyed every moment of it. But we ended up just doing that. We watched some like Gordon Ramsay shows with our roommate Max, and that was about it. It was a pretty chill Thanksgiving. What about the rest of you? Had dinner with my mom's family and siblings, then turned 18 today. Happy birthday, Kevington. Welcome to being an adult, okay? It only gets harder from here. That depends. That's not necessarily true. A lot of lefties have a really difficult time with Thanksgiving, you know? Like, Thanksgiving tends to be a particularly difficult time for left-leaning fucking kids. Balthazar with the $2 Vosh mac and cheese stream win API re. Uh-oh. Are we already dropping fucking... Oh no, you're just saying API re. We're not dropping anything. Log the Dog with the $1. Jordan Peterson is releasing a free speech social media platform. Can we raid that shit one day and dump a bunch of lefty shit on there? Yeah, I don't see why not. Doesn't that platform require a subscription for you to follow the content of a content creator? Like you need to pay a yearly sum or something? And Jordan Peterson's is something crazy like $120 a year. Is that true? Ah, holy shit! Sake Tanuki with the incredibly generous $50. Thank you so much, comrade. God damn, you're hitting me the fuck up right away. While America State doesn't equal anarcho-syndicalist utopia, run Vosh, America State equals America State plus one, Praxis equals Praxis plus one, and true. We are going to incrementally, 60 times per second, bring the total level of Praxis and America Good up. We are going to push it to its highest reaches, and you are responsible for a great deal of that forward momentum, comrade. So I sincerely appreciate it. I delight in your donations, your Soros paychecks. Did you have a Marifat dinner? Damn right. We had the mashed potatoes, we had the turkey, we had the bread rolls, we had the fucking stuffing, and then afterwards I had pecan pie and chocolate pecan pie. It was really good. It was really, really tasty. Thank you, Sake Tanuki. That was really kind of you, and I really appreciate it. And Balthazar228 with the $2, I donated under Sake Tanuki. Oh, I see. Well, thank you for the consideration, for watching out for your fellow man. I'm sure they appreciate it as well. Did you see what happened in Ohio? If not, have a look at this article. Uh-oh. Ohio bill orders doctors to re-implant ectopic pregnancy or face abortion murder charges. What the fuck? Ohio introduces the most extreme bill to date for a procedure that doesn't exist in medical science. That is the fact over feeling, high tier, fucking quality scientific discourse that I expect from the American right. Doctor may be charged with abortive murder if he does not use time crystals to rewind baby back into the womb of the mother, ensuring that it can stay in a fetal slumber for another month and a half until it's ready to be born. Sam Laserbeam with $5. Y'all being too generous too early. My economics teacher pointed to the word socialism on the board and said it was the same thing as communism. Should I be scared? Yes, you should. Not just... Mind you, there are lots of Americans, plenty of Americans, who don't know the difference between socialism and communism. It's not a big deal to not know the difference. The big deal is, if you're an econ teacher and you feel confident enough to speak on that subject impromptu without knowing what the actual answer is, that's the issue. We had a terror attack today in London, so we got that going for us. Well, listen, having terror attacks is just part and parcel to living in a big city. God, that was such a big flub. What's his name? What's the name of the fucking guy? The mayor of London? That was such a fucking bad quote, dude. Holy shit. He really fucked up with that one. Are you using a new camera? Nope. I'm just cleaner and sharper and higher frames per second looking today. All the same. Sadiq Khan? Yeah, Sadiq Khan. Did you have any shit conservative history teachers? No, in fact, it was a really, really good history teacher who ended up getting me down the social sciences. I had AP Comparative Government back at Beverly Hills High School, back in the day, and it was a good-ass meme. It was a really good-ass meme. I think the goal of the class was we took 6 countries around the world. I remember it was Great Britain, Iran, Brazil, Russia, Japan, and I forget what the fifth country was. I forget the fifth country. We were taking a look at 5 countries around the world and seeing how their governments operate. It was meant to be an exercise not only in global history and in foreign affairs, but also an exercise in understanding that there are many ways to build a functioning, society. It was a lot of fun. He was also gay. Professor Hinojosa. I wonder if I Googled him, I could find him. It's been like a decade since I took his class. I wonder if he's even still there anymore. Oh? Oh, I think this is him. Wait, hold on. What a phenomenally talented teacher, dude. Is this it? No, that's not it. Wait, why are there so many people named this? What the fuck? Okay, these aren't him. I don't care anymore. I'm bored. Fuck, I'm bored. Get out. The Gekandono messages are getting cut off stream. Sometimes that happens when people put long links in the stream. It doesn't cut them off, so it just continues past the borders of the image. Check out this socialist bop. Absolutely not. That's not socialist. That's fucking USSR. What do you want from me? What is up with Armored Skeptic and conspiracy theories? I think Armored Skeptic just likes conspiracy theories. I think that's just something that he finds interesting. Did you do anything else after eating dinner, like watch any holiday movies or whatever, or Avatar? We watched Avatar. There was another movie we were considering watching, but we felt like watching something a little bit less serious. The only other movies that I really had in mind were Blade Runner 20 whatever, the new Blade Runner, and It, the new It movie. But we decided to stray away from both of those. Can we watch Philosophy Tube? No, I don't think I'm going to get copyright striked by watching Philosophy Tube on my YouTube stream. If you want to go watch Philosophy Tube, feel free to. I know I'm probably going to at some point today. But for today, I think I'm more interested in talking about family. I love looking at myself. 60 FPS. I love it. God damn, look. Oh, I love it. I'm obsessed with the 60 FPS. Quality. Uh-oh. Hold on. Curmudgeon with the 100 what I can only assume are rubles in the super chat. Thank you. Hey, Vosh, you should take a look at the most recent transgender bill that got passed in India's parliament. You're going to love it. Am I going to love it? Is that true? Is that something that I'm going to love? Or is it going to be something that I actually don't like at all? India's transgender bill disappoints the LGBTQ community. Let's see. On Tuesday, the Rajya Sabha passed the Trans Persons Protection of Rights Bill, even though several opposition members urged the House to send the bill to a committee for further scrutiny. Nice, nice. Since its introduction in 2016, the legislation has come under heavy criticism from transgender right advocates. Well, what does the bill do? What's the bill do? Grace Banu, a Dalit transgender rights activist, said the bill was a murder of gender justice. What does the bill do? Prohibits discrimination against trans people in educational institutions, government establishments, and while renting or purchasing property, receiving healthcare, and using public services. Okay, so it's like adding them essentially to a protected class. But the legislation does not explicitly define what constitutes discrimination in the context of the trans community. Oh. It also fails to specify punishment for those who discriminate against trans people. Wait, that's it? So it says, hey, don't be mean to trans people, but then it doesn't even quantify or qualify what being mean is or what's to be done if people are mean? Wait, hold on. The bill states that trans people will have a right to self-perceived gender identity, but in the same section it adds that a trans person must make an application to the district magistrate to receive an identity certificate. Then it's not really self-perceived gender identity, isn't? The certificate shall confer rights and be a proof of recognition of their identity as a transgender person. In case a person undergoes SRS, then they must apply for another certificate to change their gender identity. The district magistrate will analyze the correctness of the medical certificate issued by the medical superintendent or chief medicinal officer according to the bill. Causing harm of any kind, including physical or sexual abuse, to a trans person could attract punishment from 6 months to extend up to 2 years. A 2-year maximum punishment if you engage in physical or sexual abuse to a trans person? Is that lower than the numbers for a non-trans person? Like, if a cis person went over there and got physically or sexually abused, I'm pretty sure the punishment would not be 6 months, extended maybe up to 2 years. One of the main objections to the bill does not recognize the right to identify one's gender. Yeah, because you have the certificate system. All right, well, I mean, it's better than nothing, probably. Isn't it additive to the normal penalties? If it is, that wasn't specified at all in the article, but it's entirely possible. A 6-month to 2-year addition to existing penalties isn't exactly tremendous, though. Sad Squid with the 420. Thank you. Take my money, comrade. I think I will. And Keto's 420 with the $2. Explain this Finnish slot machine game that came together at Tori Koju. Listen. Streaming is expensive. I have to take the placement deals and advertisement buckery dues wherever I can get them, okay? All right? I don't want to hear any more about this. Curmudgeon with the 40 rubles. It's like 8 years for a cis woman. Nice! So that means that a transgender person is worth approximately 1/16 to 1/4 of a cisgender woman. That's what I'm talking about. That's the high quality mathematical breakdown of a transgender person's worth that I like to see in my legislation. Log the Dog with the $1. To be real, my family is going through a really rough time. Both of my younger siblings are hella depressed. My mom is crying herself to sleep every night because of how abusive my dad is. He won't listen to anyone, and I'm trying to get them into counseling. Log the Dog, that legitimately sounds terrible, and I'm really sorry to hear about it. I am not capable of providing any information or counsel that could even come close to the severity of those issues. But I believe in you, comrade. So you, at least, I believe you can make it. I don't know about the other ones. I believe in you, though, okay? Balthazar 228 with the $2. Thoughts on Kaiji? I liked Kaiji. Wait, I'm thinking of the right thing, right? The anime? Yeah, Kaiji. I liked Kaiji. I think I liked the other one more, though. The one with the white-haired kid? I think I appreciated that one a little bit more. All right, listen up, folks. We need to talk. We need to fucking talk, my friends. Okay? You didn't think you were just coming in here for a fucking chillax, fucking nothing-ass stream, okay? No. We have high-tier conversations, big thoughts to go over. So let's go over them. Families are really, really difficult. Like, from a political perspective, you know what I mean? Like, so the idea of a family as a concept has changed a ton over the past few centuries, right? I mean, way back when, like really way back when, there were no families because there was no monogamy, because people would just fuck. So the women would give birth to kids, but no one really knew who the father was. You didn't really form these one-off family units or anything. Children were raised kind of communally by the village, you know, or by the local community. That's how humans raised themselves for a really long time, you know? We were all over that shit. That's how we like to live. Yeah, the family was the community. The idea of there being this like a legal or blood related sort of connection that mandated how people form social spaces, that wasn't a thing back then. However, eventually monogamy kind of took hold as a concept. There are a lot of anthropological theories as to why monogamy became a predominant form of human social organization. The most common theories are that it allowed for the powerful to form blood lineages. If you're a tribal chieftain or a warlord, if you have wealth, if you're powerful, and you want to keep a lineage going, you can't really do that easily if there are just random children that fall out of the women, you know? You need to, in a sense, have ownership over the children. In a social sense. And the best way to do that is to know whether or not they're your kids. And the only way to do that is to make sure that the women are only fucking one guy. And that way you can be sure, within a margin of error, you can be sure that the kids popping out, you know, they belong to you. So then you can pass down the whatever wealth you have. And once the upper echelons of society start to operate in that way, the ideology sort of delineates, it spreads out. People start to care more about blood ties, but not as much as you might think, like relative to today. Because right now, we compartmentalize and atomize society along family lines to an insane extent. Like, really think about it. Like, think about how our society functions right now. Who you're born to, like, if you're born to a family, you get locked in a box with them for 18 years. Those two people, by virtue pretty much exclusively of having provided the genetic material which allows you to exist, have complete control over your life until you reach legal adulthood. And that's certainly a way of doing things. But even back in the medieval days, you know, the feudal period, while people did have children, and children did stick to their parents, there was still a really huge sort of communal social element to the village. Most people lived in villages, you know. There were big farms, and if you needed to sell anything in the market, or if you needed to purchase the wares of a serviceman, or honestly just interact with people, you would go to the local village, and the village like led to a bunch of big farmlands that you would take care of, and so on. Like that's how it worked for most people, you know, before cities came along. So back then, you know, the kids worked real fucking young. Everyone's working on the goddamn farm, unless you're an artisan of some kind, like a blacksmith. So there's a greater degree of independence for the younger folk. There's no school, obviously, unless you're very wealthy, like a noble's child or whatever. So there was more of a communal element to the village rearing because people had to work together communally. There were still blood ties and blood relations, and people still were monogamous, but there was nonetheless a pretty strong social and economic incentive for people to intermingle in that sense. And nowadays, we just don't at all. Modernity kind of did that to us. I mean the Industrial Revolution when I say modernity. When you pack people into cities, well, you don't really have a village anymore. You don't have a small community of a few hundred people or even a few thousand at the most, unless you're in a major city. Now you have tenements. Now you have apartment blocks. You don't have shared needs anymore because the community no longer takes over its own. You now have grocery marts. You don't have the farms, you know. You don't go to a blacksmith anymore to fix up your horseshoes or what have you. If you need commodity goods, you purchase them from a store. And the store is not run by the people who made those goods in many cases. The store is run by people who are middlemen between the craftsman and you. There's a degree of atomization going on. People are getting further and further separated from the bonds that originally sort of facilitated human interaction. This is around the time the suicide rate started to skyrocket. You know. And it makes sense. I mean, it does. We're meant to live a certain way. I don't mean that in some biologically prescriptivist, like, humans are meant to respect the elder sort of thing. I mean, like, that's literally how we lived for a really, really, really long time. Like, that's how we lived. And over the past just 200 or 300 years, all of that has kind of been destroyed. Now, as I said before, if you're born to people, you're just locked in a house. It's funny to me because neo-Nazis are always complaining about modernity. Always, always, always they claim about modernity, destroying the family bond and what have you. But in reality, if you had a problem with modernity, you wouldn't be trying to go back to the white household, 2.5 kids, white picket fence. You would want to go back even further than that. If you had a problem with modernity, you would want to go back to a communal way of living, which they don't. Which makes it seem like their issue isn't so much with modernity as it is with black and gay people. Which, you know, true, not true, not true. I'm kidding. So when they complain about modernity, they're really not. They're complaining about progressivism. If you really cared about modernity, you would think like, damn, it's kind of fucked up that right now the way in which our society is organized means it's incredibly difficult to form like bonds with one another. That's kind of fucking weird, right? How many people know their neighbors who live in cities, I mean? Even suburbs. How many people know their neighbors? It's more common in poor communities because there's a greater degree of interdependence amongst the working poor. The working poor, you need daycare. You need people to look after your kids. You need the help, protection of your neighbors if you don't live in a very safe area. There's I think a little bit more. This is maybe one of the reasons why depression is more severe and suicides more frequent amongst upper middle class fucking whiteys. The reason for that is because among other things, it's not some genetic predisposition towards suicidality along with their lack of melanin. If anything, you'd think they'd be getting more vitamin D, right? The reason ultimately is because the social atomization is worsened due to the cultural and economic factors that, sort of supplant upper middle class whiteness. The wealth means suburbia, where everyone lives in a big house that's fucking 80 feet away from everyone else and nobody knows their neighbors except when you're mowing the lawn and you see them across the hedge. And the whiteness, and speaking as a white man, we know this to be true. We know that white families are a little bit more closed off than a lot of other families. At least here in America, Latin families are pretty open and boisterous, and they have a lot of interdependence and connectivity, and they know one another, and they visit each other for family events, and they trust each other. And black families too, though maybe to a slightly lesser extent. But white families tend to be a little bit more cagey, Now, as for why that is, I don't know. It's complicated. I don't know. But it's a thing. It's a problem that we have to deal with, and I want to talk about that, not in some broad sociological, anthropological sense. I want to talk about like it on a personal level, because I'm white. And I have really good parents. I have really, really kind parents. My mom and dad, they're really, really good people. And I think they did a good job raising me, too. They're middle class, or maybe upper middle class. They provided for me a ton of opportunity. They encouraged me with my passions and hobbies. They weren't helicopter parents. They let me have a good deal of independence while still trying to impart life lessons into me. I think they did a really good job. But I still grew up in a box with like 2 or 3 other people. And looking back on it, that's not really like a great way to grow up, right? Think of your favorite moments as a kid. Like, think of it. I don't know about you guys. I remember sleepovers. Wait, are we talking about alienation via capitalism or something else? Because this is starting to sound like BS when you bring up the communal village living and how that was the best for people. Yep, will-o'-the-wisp. Communal village living facilitated social bonds that were definitely better than what we had here. 100%. Unquestionably. Now, mind you, there were lots of other problems with village living, but they weren't intrinsic to what I'm referring to here. Like, for example, the goat raping. I don't want to bring back goat raping. What I want to bring back, And by the way, anyone who disagrees with this, I think, is fundamentally misinterpreting the basic principles of capitalist critique. Because the atomization of society is a direct byproduct of our society becoming economically stratified. Our inability to engage with others socially, the fact that people are growing less social, more lonely, less friends, less romantic partners, less sex, is a direct byproduct of certain social conditions that lead us to be lonelier. And one of those social conditions is the modern family. That is one of those conditions. Anyone who feels otherwise is, well, I don't know. I mean, think about it. Was your life really made better being kept in a box? This is one of the reasons why so many people fucking love dorm life. Because dorm life is this interstitial period where you still have the guidance and structure of a higher authority, school, the university. But suddenly, you now live communally. You live in dorms, often with a communal space. When I was in dorms, I lived with 4 other people. We had a shared kitchen. Every time I would go out to get food, there were other people there. Sometimes the people would change. I didn't always know these people. I would go out there and interact with them. Sometimes I would go out. I remember fondly it being 11 p.m. and me wanting to get some goddamn late night snackies. And I'd go out there in like my shorts and just like a hoodie over or whatever. And one of my roommates would have like a cute friend that they were studying together on the couch. And I would like casually you know, I'd give, you know, not like in a weird, but just like, hey, how you doing? Like that kind of, you know? I remember that really fondly because like there are people, there's activity around, you know? It's bustling. It's hustling and bustling. I love that shit. Randoms in the kitchen. It was a dorm. It was a dorm. People come over. I really like that. I am not a very social person, you know? I don't like just randomly having people around normally. However, I had my own room. I had my own little room. The bedroom was mine. And then and that was my little private space where I would play Diablo 3 for 12 hours straight without anyone bothering me. And then when I wanted to be social, I could just go outside and be reasonably sure something interesting was happening. What's up? I knew you would. Fucking weedsters, dude. Fucking weedsters. Woo! Yo. Nice. Woo! Aiden Paladin said progressivism is the reason wages haven't scaled with productivity. Yeah, that's because Aiden Paladin is a retard who has fallen for the same trap that every dipshit racist has fallen for the past 300 years. Capitalists convincing them that the reason why they're not making more money is because of brown people. Anyway, what was I saying? I really liked the dorms because there was that social element. And now I feel like I'm kind of regressing because now I have like this house and I just live with my girlfriend and my roommate. But it's the same people and I mostly just spend my time with my girlfriend and I don't have this vibrant social element to the space that I'm in, which kind of sucks. I like that element, you know? I need my private zone space shit for like the streaming. I need it to be relatively quiet here, obviously. You know, I've got computers and I've got a lot of equipment around here. So I think that everyone needs their own little private space. But broadly speaking, the way we lock people off is just kind of sick. I don't know. It's very economically productive, don't get me wrong. It's very economically efficient to make sure that people have minimal social bonds so that they can spend their entire lives working, desperately trying to provide a living for the children that they are solely responsible for. It's very efficient, but I don't know if it really makes us happy. I don't know. I don't know if we're here for that. Who was the philosopher who studied the communal living stuff? Wasn't it Epicurus? That's Epicurus. Is it Epicurus? Yes, Epicurus. Here we go. I'm linking the Wikipedia page. There you go. It's almost like low-level solitary confinement. It really is. It's genuinely distressing. Like, have you ever really thought about how weird this type of living is compared to how people lived 300 years ago? All of this is prelude, really. I wish I lived in a more communal space. I imagine many of you guys did as well. There's a truly phenomenal emotional benefit to being around others, living their lives, being segmented. Even if you want quiet time, just being around other people living their lives is beneficial. It helps. It makes you stronger, I think, as a person. So what the fuck are we doing with Thanksgiving? I think this is one of the reasons I thought you were getting to some anarcho-primitivist thing. No, I don't want to live in a fucking village. I want to live in a communal space. Vosh, I've been a NEET for like 6 years now. I have legitimately no idea how damaged I am from this, but I'm sure it's worse than I think. It probably is snow, but at least we have each other. No, don't take that to heart. No parasocial. Seriously though, I do hope one day the NEETdom is able to fall to the wayside. Interestingly, you can put this critique into the context of modern mainstream economics by quantifying the impact in terms of utility or how the benefit of communal living on well-being compared to the impact of an increase in income and well-being. Eric Tiber, I thought that reading that out loud would help me understand it, and it didn't. Reading it out loud didn't help me understand it. If anything, I'm more confused and distressed than I was when I just read it in my head. But I gave it an effort, Eric. So, I mean, sometimes that's all we can do. And I think this is one of the reasons why Thanksgiving is so paralyzing, or what would you say? Divisive amongst people. Some people love Thanksgiving. Some people love that because now you have a bunch of family over for most people, and now there's like this big communal element. The problem is when people get together like this. When people come together in Thanksgiving to have this big social meal family thing together, I feel like they don't act like a family community. I feel like they act like 18 different groups of atomized, segmented family units awkwardly jointed together. Does anyone else feel that way? I feel like maybe this is just a white person thing. I feel like we're just not that conditioned to share social spaces with other people. So for that reason, when we all get together, it doesn't feel like everyone's coming together for some shared like social time. It feels like a bunch of separate social groups are coming together to participate like in the same meal. Yeah, maybe this is just a white person thing, because I'm sure Latin families and Black families and other communities that typically, like proportionally, tend to have stronger family bonds probably deal with this a little bit less. Vosh, yes, because even though they're technically your family, they're mostly people you never see. I don't even think the issue is that you never see them, by the way. Imagine if Thanksgiving was treated like a party. I've been to parties. I've gone to parties and not known anyone there and still had a good time. I don't think it's the fact that we don't know one another. The issue is that there's some social barrier. It's like a conditioning thing that's keeping us from having a good-ass time with our relatives. You know what I mean? It's like if I go to a party, I don't know anyone there, or at least I don't know most of the people there, but I do know that everyone at a party has a shared interest in having a good fucking time, you know? Everyone at the party has a shared interest in going out there and having a good ass fucking time and maybe getting wasted or playing some party games or meeting or hooking up with people. Not as viable at a Thanksgiving, admittedly, you know. But they're there for that reason. But when people come together for Thanksgiving, it feels like I don't know if it's the performativity of the holiday, or I don't know if it's because it's forced socialization because a lot of the younger people don't want to be there, and probably the older people too. They just do it because otherwise they'll get excluded from their Christmas card list. I don't know why. There's something to it that makes it feel really wrong, you know? Maybe it's the fact that people are just getting together for a meal. Yeah, true, Hyena. Yeah, maybe a meal is the wrong way of getting together. Maybe there needs to be something else. Like here, we're all having a Thanksgiving like game night or something like that. There needs to be a different way of getting people together because a meal in and of itself doesn't really break the barriers down between people. I don't think it does. A meal helps with that. A meal is helpful, but it isn't a shared activity in the same way that playing a game together is. Or game night, like watching a football game. I fucking hate sports, don't get me wrong, but I know for a fact that when people all come together to watch like a fucking sports ball game, they get a communal sense out of that. They get that feeling, you know? Have any of you guys ever been to one of those sports ball games? Every time I go, I just, I don't care. But having the shared point of interest offers a chance for mutual bonding. It's probably because at most parties, the participants are all relatively similar, same age or shared interest, but at a Thanksgiving, there are implicit power structures. That's true. Maybe a lot of it is also just the inherent social conservatism of family dynamics, you know? If you go to a party, even if you went to a party with the same people you would go to a Thanksgiving with, because it's not a family event, people are going to cut loose a little bit. Whereas if you go to a Thanksgiving, because it's a family event, because there are family bonds and family ties that are implicitly tied to the nature of the communal get-together, rather than them just being incidental. Maybe that inherently evokes the kind of conservative, sort of isolationist mentality that keeps people from really bonding. Indeed, hierarchy re. I was saying earlier, the most fun we had as kids was having sleepovers, right? I mean, that was like the most fun thing. We can all agree that, right? For the obviously it varies from person to person, but we like sleepovers. I mean, they feel really, really good. When you're just when you're fucking chilling and you're thinking like, at 4 p.m. my friends are going to be done with homework and their moms are going to drive them over, and then they show up, they fucking dive on in. You got the cheese whiz, or you've got the cheese whiz, you've got the Cool Whip. You've got the fucking the gushers and the sippy cups. You've got the whole lineup, the whole row, and you have a GameCube and a copy of Smash Brothers Melee. You've got the fucking Smash Bros Melee there, and you fucking know you're fucking up till 4 a.m. That is the absolute fucking top tier social interaction right here. Never had a sleepover. I'm sorry, comrade. But that's the thing. That is the thing. We can still do that. There is literally nothing stopping me from doing that right now. I work a pretty flexible job, you know, and a lot of you guys have weekends. This is doable. Think of how much time you spend right now on a day-to-day basis when you're not doing other things, so when you're not working. Think of how much time you spend just fucking chilling on Reddit, just playing some boring-ass game that you don't actually enjoy that much, but it fills up the hours, watching a Netflix show like in the corner of your eye while you're doing other work. Think of how much time you spend that just passes the hours. What if we lived in a society that incentivized people to be a little bit more social, and in being more social, even as adults, we could have an easier time finding friends, and it would be easier for us to fucking chill out like that. Wouldn't that be fucking sick? We can do that. We can do that. There's nothing keeping adults from doing slumber parties. Now, admittedly, we wouldn't call them slumber parties, obviously. We're not children. Stay the night, you know, just stay the night. And, it gets a little more complicated when you're older, when you have children, for example. But even if you have children, think of how much easier the act of leaving your house to hang out with other people, even staying the night, would be if you lived in a more communal society where you would expect that you have friends or neighbors or family members who could take care of your kid for a day. You know, that used to happen back in them villages. That used to happen back in more communal spaces. If your parents are off like on a 2 or 3 day trading journey, or if your family has to do something like some busy work, just go over to somebody else's house. Just stay there. Just go, just let the kids stay somewhere else, you know? As long as you trust the person who's taking care of them, they're not going to fucking die unless they're like a special needs kid or whatever, but that's, you know, its own set of difficulties. It's its own entire... Wait, that doesn't happen in the US? Amongst white people? No. That does not happen in the US. It really doesn't. I have never met a white family that had enough knowledge of friends or neighbors or family members to have their kids stay over at somebody else's place while they went off and did something cool. I have never seen that in my life. No, not once. Not even once. At the end of the day, the hyper-liberalization of society is responsible for this. We make everyone solely and individually responsible for their own well-being. And for that reason, our society, our culture, our economics, all of them are organized around individual self-determination, or at least the illusion of it. The idea that every individual should be an individual economic actor that is individually trying to maximize their individual economic output. And this leads to atomization in the sense that it keeps us from forming social bonds for a variety of reasons. Think of the gig economy. How many people here have to work more than one job to survive? Wait, raise your hand if you have to work more than one job to survive. By which I mean hypers, obviously. I forgot to unmute. See, that's a lot of folks over there who need to work more than one job. I'm disabled, so I can't work? Ah, a fellow League of Legends player, I see. Whatever the case may be, the gig economy is really, really bad for fostering social interaction for pretty obvious reasons. I mean, when you don't really know what your work schedule is going to be, when you don't work a solid 8 to 5, when you just like a week in advance get your schedule for the next week, and it could be fucking anything, when you don't get paid properly for overtime, when you don't get benefits or health insurance, this is a really difficult environment to form build your own safety net, you know? This is a really difficult environment to try and build a space where you feel comfortable enough to engage in extravagancies, like, say, for example, having a sleepover. Which is really, really unfortunate. It's not a regular thing for people to go like to a concert and leave their kids with some friends. My parents did that all the time when we were younger. We would go to grandma's or one of my dad's coworkers' places and sing with their kids. Alga the Dragon Lady, I'm terribly sorry, but I have literally never heard of that ever happening with any of my fucking white friends or any of my parents' friends or any of their friends' friends. In my entire life. Only just, they would just have a babysitter come over, which costs money, quite a bit of money in fact, or they would, or they just wouldn't be able to go. That was it. I don't think a lot of you understand just how atomized certain elements of our society are, namely the elements of our society that have the highest suicide rates. Yeah, here we go. I mean, it's pretty clear here. Age-adjusted suicide rates for females by race and ethnicity. Whites are coming out on top, and it's increasing too. The blue bar is 1999, the green bar is 2007. For every ethnic group, it's gone up. Hispanic is very low. Black is very low. The AIAN is Alaskan Natives. Native people are the only people who have a higher on average suicide rate. That's nice. In 18 years, the Alaskan Native suicide rate more than doubled for females. That's what I like to call a good meme. Going up pretty fast for whites, too. For males, black barely went up. Hispanic barely went up. Alaskan, white. Suicide rates are much higher for men than they are for women, of course. For men right now, at least for whites, 28.2 is quite a bit higher than 7.9. Yeah, whites really are better at everything. Though I guess we get blown the fuck out by natives in this respect. What does API mean there? What does API mean? Oh, non-Hispanic Asian or Pacific Islander. I see. And then non-Hispanic American Indian or Alaskan Native for the AIAN. So Asian or Pacific Islander, Native or indigenous person of some kind. The reason for that is because everything that I've been talking about social stratification in white communities, the economic factors that preclude those environments, they're even worse on the in the reservations. I haven't really talked about native like politics or economics that much, but reservations are like beyond fucked. They're basically concentration camps, except they're legal. Link? Why do you only ever ask after I close the fucking document? Now, they're not really concentration camps, of course. I don't really know much about reservation politics. All I know is that they're totally fucked. The point that I'm trying to get at here, though, is that a lot of people don't like Thanksgiving, and I feel like it's for preventable reasons. There's nothing a lot of people have receded. They've become antisocial. They feel as though the issue is with their inherent social interests, not with society at large. And for some of those people, that's totally true. A lot of you fuckers are just antisocial, and that's fine. Live your life how you want to live your life. But for a lot of you, I genuinely believe that you are social. I genuinely believe that holidays like Thanksgiving would excite you, would be something to look forward to. If only we had a society which encouraged in people the mindsets precluded towards having a good Thanksgiving. Asocial, Vosh, not antisocial? No, I mean antisocial, but asocial as well. I just see so many people get so... they're just so upset with Thanksgiving, you know? But Thanksgiving isn't really the issue. Ignoring the genocide of the Native Americans thing. But come on, that's lefty politics 101. Let's go a little further than that. There's nothing intrinsically wrong with the concept of a Thanksgiving, of a big family get-together, of communal spaces. The issue is that we're just not used to them anymore, and our society is building spaces in such a way to keep us from getting used to them. And that's just really cringe. That's just really fucking cringe, bro. I'm cringing over here. I'm cringing over here. It's cringe, you know? Well, whatever the case may be, I understand that a lot of you guys probably had lackluster Thanksgivings, and I'm sorry for that. But you know what? I love you. Not personally. I don't know you. But as a communal thing, you know? I hope you guys are doing well. I really do. And maybe you will... Fuck my glasses. Maybe you will, over the next couple of years, find yourself in a position where maybe not Thanksgiving, but some other social communal activity will appeal to you. That would be nice, wouldn't it? All right, we did it. We left a long enough void of silence at the end for us to proceed. How you doing? Let me go over donations, huh? Then we'll talk. Do you think this has something to do with the rise in D&D? Wait, what do you mean? People growing more antisocial or less antisocial? I don't know what you mean. Oh, wow, we've got a lot of donors to go over. What is wrong with you people? Yo, Vosh, your colors ain't really popping today? Fine! I'll up the contrast, you fucking children. Jesus Christ. Configure video. Wait, that's contrast, not saturation. Hold on. There we go. How's that? Look at that. We have some fucking contrast now. Beautiful. Oh yeah, a D&D is a great way for people to form the social spaces that they've been missing out on lately, you know? Is this a color stream now? No, we're going to be talking about plenty of stuff, but right now I need to go over donations. Hey Vosh, feeling anxious due to a partner visiting Mexico as a permanent resident? Hope ICE leaves him alone? Ah, shit. I hope so too, comrade. Alright, hold on. Balthazar228 with the $2. Thoughts on Kaiji? I already did that one. Fuck you! Riley Smith with the $2. Have you ever looked into Gamers Rise Up? Yes, I have. I've talked about it briefly before, when I did the Joker review thing, but I should talk about it a little bit more. The downfall of the sub. Caspian with the tier 1 sub. Dix, that is true. I'm glad everyone is so excited by that. And of course, I didn't miss it when I first saw it, but I was too busy. I was too busy elsewhere. J Showa O with the $200 donation. Holy shit, comrade. What an overwhelmingly generous donation from you. Astonishingly so. I don't even know what to say except thank you. And happy Thanksgiving. Unless you're European, in which case, fuck you. I know you're not European, though, because you donated with dollars. Thank you very much, comrade. That is incredibly generous of you. I am taken aback and at the same time overwhelmed by your generosity. And in all flowery language aside, seriously, thanks, man. I hope you're doing well. I really do. I don't know if you're on my website chat or not, but if you're not, you should be. Some cool stuff happening here, you know? Some hippin' and happening folks are popping off every single day. As a lonely person, I wish I was King Richard's bastard son. Then I could take over within the margin of error. Maybe. Wait. When was King Richard again? King of England from 1189 until his death. Wait, what did this one do? Maybe you are a Brit bonger. Uh-oh. Are you an enemy of the Republic? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I don't actually care enough. Godspeed, comrade. Lonely or not, you know what? I don't know if you're going to be able to be King Richard's bastard son, but I have a reasonable degree of confidence that you will be able to find a greater level of happiness within your life. I hope so, comrade. Lonely or not. I love you, buddy. Jesus Christ, what an obscure reference. Wait, I don't get it. Wait. Britbong Vosh viewers rise up. Please don't. Please don't. This is an American stream, okay? Thank you, Jay Showa. Flavier with the $1. Hey, Vosh. I'm getting the word out about this. My friend's doing a charity stream for intersex people tomorrow. Link to the Discord, link to the stream. Here, I'll share the links in chat. Godspeed. Here you go, you fucking Weasley-ass comrades. Apparently, intersex people exist? Sounds fake, but here are some links. I hope the stream is able to go well. Lunos Nocturne on Twitch. I'll link it in a YouTube chat as well. Godspeed, comrades. And Balthazar228 with the $2. Thank you. Thanksgiving orgy. Third cousins or further back is fine. MP17 with the $2. How do you think being an only child affects people? I think being an only child fucking sucks, dude. I wasn't. I had a younger brother. But being an only child sounds like shit to me, dude. Like, what the fuck? I mean, I guess it really depends on the family situation. Being an only child means that more of the family's attention is going to be drawn to you, but it also means that you're not going to benefit from socializing with a peer when you grow up. I guess it really depends. Twilight Monk with the $1. I think you and Dusty's method of leftist advocacy are both great in their own ways, even though he's not as far left as you. But I do wonder, do you think that Dusty is the woke scoldy type of suckdem out of guilt for being an ex-chud? Possibly. Dusty has been really obnoxious on Twitter over the past week or so about the shoe on head thing. Let me see if I can find it on Twitter. What did Shoe on Head do? Shoe on Head didn't do anything. I said I was going to bring Shoe on Head onto my stream, which I will. Oh, looks like we actually are debating Sargon tomorrow. All right, Godspeed. Yeah, here we go. This is the most recent one. I just got sent the dumbest clip ever from Vosh in his defense of Shoe. Tune in Friday. Definitely going to burn shit down. The fucking ego from him on this shit is off the charts. Holy shit. Unreal. Why not just talk to him directly? I have, but she is way more popular than I am, and he is incredibly concerned with being popular. There's not much I can do about it. He's made his choice. Time to live with it. He said explicitly multiple times that his aim is to pull from the right to bring them over into leftist spaces. What's the idea of him wanting to become popular coming from? Just DM him and chat again. The way he whitewashes Shoe proves he's not really interested in being intellectually honest. He's interested in clout. Fuck that. The funny thing is that Dusty has actually in the past directly, openly, empirically, and personally said that much of the stuff that he talks about on his stream is just drama mongering and that he doesn't actually sincerely believe in it. I gotta find out what time the debate is tomorrow. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind people scrutinizing my intentions and motivations concerning talking to Shoe on Head and stuff. I wouldn't blame somebody for that. Dusty is the guy who claimed he invented selling t-shirts and facials and porn. Yeah, I think I recall that. Are you for real about getting to debate Sargon? I might call off work to watch. Don't call off work to watch me debate Sargon. It'll be up in a VOD within a day. Anyway, just apparently I'm going to get blown the fuck out today? It's going to be today, right? Today's Friday? I remember how you know. 5K viewers will be new store. We'll see. Jay Showa O with the $20. Thank you so much, comrade, for your continued generosity. Can I sleep over at your house, Vosh? We've got plenty of space, but no room in our hearts, I'm afraid. We love Artemy just too much. Today? Yeah, Dusty Smith's thing is today. That's Friday. Today is Friday. Is today not Friday? Today's Friday. So yeah, today. Today is when the Dusty Smith thing is happening. Can you adopt me? No, you're vegan. Disgusting. You wouldn't be able to eat any of our food anyway. We put cream and cheese in everything. Lexify with the $1. If I had a sleepover, it'd just be sleeping. I'm so goddamn tired. Sorry, comrade. Hey, me too. And Jorge Soros with the $10. Thank you so much, comrade. That is really generous of you. Keep up the good work, Hibernian laddie. Haha. You and me, brother. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it together, okay? They're never gonna find out. The Sasanaches, the Gentiles, they're never going to figure it out. They'll never see through it. We gotta keep it going. Katya with the $5. Lorem ipsum. True? Maybe true. That might be true. True? Possibly. That might possibly be true. True, possibly. Riley Smith with the $5. I've been playing Rising Storm 2 Vietnam, and it's funny because everyone is super hyped for communism and yell "Die American Dog" a lot. Good. A faithful reenactment of the war itself, comrade. Learn your history, okay? Get your chops going. And Thomas White with the $5. No message included. How generous of you. I really appreciate it. And Balthazar228 with the $2. You love Black Friday? I'm planning on getting like a Switch and a TV Black Friday. Yeah, I'll just order it online. I'm not going to bother a retail worker. Lorem ipsum equals dummy text Vosh. Oh. Big Muff with the $5. I haven't nutted in 29 days to challenge myself for No Nut November and the urges are killing me. Can I get a nice meme? Nice meme, comrade. Have you really not come in $29? Legends tell of the successful No Nut November participant. Is it you? Are you the one successful No Nut November participant this year? Is that you? Is it him? Why is everyone saying $29? Oh, did I say $29? Okay, listen, all right? I'm still sleepy from all the fucking turkey juice. What do they call that? Hyena. What's the name of that turkey juice? Help me out here. Have you really not come in $29, bro? Wow. That's amazing. I'm Billy Jean with a tier 1 sub, thank you! Started watching and lurking since your pre-Facecam days. As a then suckdem, I had found Anson idyllic but impractical. You helped me realize that it is capitalism that is impractical. ACAB and trans rights, true! That is the truest thing I have ever heard. I'm Billy Jean. I am sick and tired with how unrealistic capitalism is. The impracticalities of the system are just disgusting to me. As someone who loves efficiency, I just can't stand to see it happen like this, you know? I can't stand it. And Balthazar 228 with the $2. I'm working on 90 Nut November. Nice. I don't think there are 90 days in November, so you might bleed over a little bit into December and February, but hey, you know what? It's the sentiment that counts. You fucking weirdos. You fucking degens. What should I say to a communist who doesn't want to vote? Eat my ass. Present your asshole to them and make them eat it. Dusty thinks that because Vosh wanted to talk to Shu, Vosh reactionary, some kind of grifter. It's super dumb. Yeah, it's so fucking frustrating to me. Maybe this is just because I'm not a virtue ethicist, and a lot of people out here sincerely, believe that the only way in which we can meaningfully judge the morality of actions is by assessing the moral character of the people who engage in those actions. I don't know about that. I'm not a huge fan of that way of looking at the world. I'm pretty deeply rooted into consequentialism. What is the harm in trying to reach out to people? A lot of people act as though Shoe-on-Head's audience is 100% full of reactionaries and white nationalists, which is fucking wild. No, they're not. They're definitely not. Look at this. Shoe-on-Head Arthur. Arthur gets woke.
The anti-SJWs are out.
Hey, look who has a better cam. I have the better cam.
What am I talking about? We're talking about gay rats.
In this video, Shoe-on-Head goes ahead and makes fun of people who are accusing Arthur of getting woke. Remember the episode? Arthur did the gay wedding thing, and then a bunch of people, no bullshit, were actually, well, since this is them pushing the gay agenda, Alabama is perfectly within their rights to ban it from public broadcasting. And all that horseshit and all that, crypto-fash stuff. And then Shoe-on-Head went ahead and defended it and made fun of all of them. And this is it's got more than a 90% like ratio right here. And the top comments, if I'm going to be honest, your child becomes gay because of an Arthur episode. They were probably never that straight in the first place. Didn't Alabama also censor Sesame Street in the 70s for depicting children of black and white skin color playing together? Anti-SJWs are actually becoming the thing they hate. Lol, never thought I would see the day. I'm a bisexual woman who hates pandering in media, but seeing this episode is not one of them. I feel like Shoe-on-Head, and maybe Shoe-on-Head's audience as well, is full of a lot of people who aren't very politically woke. She has another political channel called Brainlit, where maybe it's a little bit more informed. But I feel like a lot of her viewers are just kind of milquetoast, cool internet people. They're up there, and you know what? They think the SJWs go too far, and they're kind of crazy, but they're not actively racist or anything. These are people who will go online and complain about SJWs, yeah, but then they're not doing it because as a front for being a racist or a sexist. They're not making fun of SJWs and privately thinking, ah, yes, and one day I will have the social capital to denounce the ultimate SJW, Martin Luther King Jr., who was wrong to push for an end to segregation in the United States of America because the inferior shape of the negroid skull prevents them from integrating into white society as one would expect. Keeping them in separate facilities is the only sane way to deal with their animalistic impulses. They're just anti-SJW because they think that sometimes people are so weird that people are kind of cringy on Twitter. Like, that's it. These people are normies. You know? I mean, we can go through this. I'm a conservative and I completely agree. The people freaking out over this Arthur show are outrageous. I just don't get it. Straight couple kisses, homophobe, doesn't care. Gay lesbian couple kisses, homophobe, not in front of the children. As a gay man, Arthur did it right. Queer kid stuff is how you do it wrong. There's a difference between forced diversity and natural diversity. Complaining about Captain Marvel, Scarlet Witch, Mystique, Black Panther. They're just various media. The point that I'm trying to get at here, and I think this is a really important distinction, is that there's a huge, huge range of political opinions that fit in the descriptor anti-SJW. There are anti-SJWs like me, because I sometimes rather pejoratively describe the crazy, hyper woke, scoldy, gatekeeping lefties on Twitter as SJWs, or being like the actual SJW stereotype. And then there are anti-SJWs like No Bullshit, who is a real neo-Nazi who denies the Holocaust and believes in a white ethno-state, but markets himself as an anti-SJW. The term anti-SJW is there's like a huge range of people who fit in the purview of that set of descriptors, you know? Huge. So sometimes when people like me or call themselves, like, I never call myself anti-SJW for reasons I'm about to explain, but when people on Shoe'n'Head call themselves an anti-SJW, that often elicits from people a defensive reaction, because when they hear anti-SJW, they're used to dealing with people like No Bullshit. And speaking of the devil, No BS is ringing about how the next Batman movie is going to have black characters. You got your baited. Well, I even swapped cams before checking because I was so sure. Because I was so confident. Because I was so trusting. No Bullshit is a liar.
Hi, I'm Jay. Here's a completely normal drawing of me riding a rhino into battle holding a lightsaber. Today I want to tell you a story. This is something that happened to me online. In the early days of my YouTube channel, I used to...
I wish I could attain the level of consistency No Bullshit has with his content. SJWs get Victoria's Secret show canceled. Star Wars They Fly Now clip worries fans. Leftists let partners cheat for Christmas. Liberals eat bugs for Thanksgiving. Mandalorian show triggers SJWs. I'd get really bored. I feel like I try more. SJW Ancestry DNA test goes wrong, part 2. What are the comments going to look like for this one? I'm sure she's had plenty of African in her. Slavery isn't cool, said the girl who yearns to be African or Middle Eastern, 2 regions that are heavily into slavery. Wait, what the fuck is the relationship between those 2 points? I don't like slavery. Heh. Well, you like African and Middle Eastern cultures, 2 regions that also did slavery. What? I'm pretty sure every continent on the planet has had some pretty severe slavery going on. It's okay to be white. Guys, Sargon isn't going to get destroyed in the debate. Sargon is too stupid to actually eloquent a position that he can be pushed down on. News alert, Asian isn't a minority. There's literally billions in them. Not Antarctica, you dipshit. That's true. Oh, speaking of, wait, really quickly, I saw this in Destiny's subreddit. I know it's elsewhere as well. But have you guys seen this video? Hold on. Where is it? Where? Here it is. Guys, you remember Adam Friended?
Okay, I would just.
Do you guys remember Adam Friended, right? Adam Friended is the person who I debated over like capitalism and socialism, and he kept bringing up the book Why Nations Fail over and over and over again, nonstop. Well, Adam Friended runs a podcast, and he's friends with PSA Sitch, somebody else I did a video on, and he also is apparently friends with Sargon, because Adam Friended's podcast is the podcast I'll be debating Sargon on tomorrow. So there's that. But originally, when I debated Adam Friended, I thought he was just a normie, like, liberal, you know? But this dude was hiding his power level, because here in this 4.5 hour stream, they had no bullshit on. And they were asking, okay, credit where credit is due. I don't like any of these people here. But PSA Sitch over here, down here, the person who I did the cringe video on because he was talking about SJW Mary Sue's, was grilling No Bullshit on whether or not he was a white nationalist. And Adam Friended kept playing defense for him. Wait, just like listen to just a fucking second.
Just want to note that for the record. I mean,
So you can
a
mark that in the records.
That stream, and I mean, I had a completely different take than races. So
Right.
what do we have to ensure that whites lose their majority and the whatever race takes the majority isn't like, how do we protect ourselves from them being racist?
Yeah, but that's literally a racial.
See, the thing
racist
I'd
argument.
like to add is just, I think this is more trying to slander people you don't like. I mean, it's classic anti-white behavior, just coded in, you're pretending to care about all the races and the minorities, but really you just want to attack a white person
Well, I'm
for
pretty sure
being
one
happy.
species.
He literally just asked, what no bullshit would you do to keep a white majority in this country? Which is what no bullshit said that he wanted.
And
He's white,
healthy,
too.
for being happy and healthy and doing a good job and getting some popularity on YouTube. So I mean, I don't think it's specifically coming from you, Sitch. I appreciate you having me on the show, and I'm friends with you and Adam. But as far as the other people that are coming up with this bullshit that you're kind of like regurgitating now, like, I think you might have been had. Like, I don't think you're
Well, okay, so
really
let's
seeing the big
so let's-
picture.
So let's watch these clips,
Okay.
and you can explain the context to me that I'm missing.
So to clarify, PSA Sitch over here in the bottom left, I know it's hard because they don't all have cams, asked No Bullshit if he wanted to keep a white majority in America, to which No Bullshit basically said yes, though he weasel flopped around it as well. And then Adam Friended down here was like, okay, well, what would you want to do to keep that majority? Adam Friended is throwing the most straight, soft, underhand fucking softballs at this fucking no BS at Brooks Heatherly over here. And then he goes on a tirade about how this is classic anti-white bias against him. But here.
What clips?
I sent you a watch together link, and we can watch these clips together, and you can explain to me why I'm misinterpreting and how I'm being had.
Well, I just told you how I feel. Why do you need to watch
how is this
18-month-old?
Yeah.
Like,
I've just told you how I feel. Why go back and watch clips of me also saying how I feel? I couldn't possibly be lying to you right now. There's no point in going back and cross-checking what I'm saying now against how things that I've said in the past. This is classic anti-white behavior.
Okay, because
I
feel
like here's the thing, Sitch. You think this stream is more condemning and more important than it is. You think it's cool because you're like, oh, I might have caught him saying something stupid 2 years ago. But it's not. It's not even as bad as you think. That's what I was pointing out before when I was saying, you have these misconstrued ideas of what people believe. And you just think if you call someone alt-right or a white nationalist, they're a Nazi now, and I'm never going to talk to them again. And I got them strucken off of my list. Now I'm coming for Brooks, so I'm going to dig up some old quotes and do the same thing.
Okay, so
Look at him. So he's afraid of being presented quotes from the past. So he's simultaneously saying that this is classic anti-white behavior to ask him a simple question about his beliefs. Then he's saying that it's unfair of them to bring up clips from things that he said in the past. But he's also saying that nothing that they're doing here is damaging and this isn't a big deal to him, kind of preemptively acting defensive. How do you think it's a little bit suspect maybe when they're like, hey, no bullshit. Why and how do you want to preserve a white majority in America? And he's like, you think this is going to take down me? You think this is going to take me down? This is not as big of a deal as you think it is. By the way, don't play those old clips. Holy shit, dude. He is such a Weasley. And again, I actually do believe that Sargon is stupider than no bullshit. It might actually be a toss-up.
So to answer Adam's question first,
I don't even, if you watch my videos or anything I produce, I mean, I tweet once in a while, like I never talk about this topic. I never say anything about nationalism specifically. I mean, I talk about loving my country and politics, but I never say anything about an ethno-state. I haven't mentioned those terms besides trying to defend people that aren't those terms. Like when you think you call someone alt-right, that means there's some kind of leper and should be cast out of society. Okay, I don't believe that. I think criminals should be put into jail. But I think if
nobody is asking him anything pertaining to what he's saying right now. I wish they would wrangle him down harder. And PSA Sitch does a better job over the course of this conversation. Adam Friended is trying to defend him for the most part.
No, you can't. You have to prove that they did something wrong.
Okay, I agree with you. Okay, I agree. You have to prove it. And to answer Adam's question first, I don't think this isn't cancel culture because I'm of the position that I don't believe that anyone, I don't believe Richard Spencer or Nick Fuentes or any of these people should be canceled off of YouTube. I believe if you're racist, you should be able to say your racist crap on YouTube. So I'm not in favor of cancel culture, but what I am in favor of is people being honest about their positions.
Yeah,
I think you would agree with that, Adam.
Positions change, though. Seriously. And
of course.
One species is giving me a hard time in the chat. He's saying,
wait a minute. Okay, Adam. I'm about to address. I'm literally about to address that point. Okay. This is my problem.
Go ahead.
If Brooks was sitting and making videos about South Park, movies, and TV, and he's like never talking about this stuff, then it's like, okay, he can hold whatever beliefs he wants, and it's fine. But literally, I have a tweet from you from October of this year, so it isn't like so long ago, saying the alt-right is just a meaningless buzzword at this point, like when they call us white supremacists or Nazis for no reason. And this is also you did the same thing.
That's true.
Yeah, and you did the same thing to me, where I was calling Nick Fuentes and Gab and saying, "Wow, they're going all." No, I was warning Mark Dice because he was defending Nick Fuentes, and I don't know if Mark Dice knows that Nick Fuentes is totally a white nationalist, and he's defending it. And I'm saying, Mark, do you understand what you're doing? And Brooks enters my Twitter conversation. He's like, oh, this is all BS, Sitch. So you can't act like you're not involved in this conversation.
Twitter.
You're constantly bringing stuff
up. Well, none of that has anything to do with ethnos.
So, to clarify, right now, No Bullshit is triggered as fuck, and he's arguing that PSA Sitch believes in cancel culture for asking him questions about what he believes in. And Adam Friended, a supposed liberal, is defending No Bullshit, saying that it's pointless to try and compare what he's saying now to things that he has said in the past. And PSA Sitch is poignantly reminding them that just a few days ago, prior to this conversation, No Bullshit stepped in to defend Nick Fuentes in a conversation Sitch had with Mark Dice, Nick Fuentes being an open neo-Nazi. A pretty relevant and pertinent condemnation of No BS's current views.
States and Richard Spencer, but as far as the other stuff, I was just calling you out for using those terms like a typical leftist. Like you think you call someone alt-right.
Do you think that Nick Fuentes is not a white nationalist?
Well, he's a self-proclaimed one.
Then
so then why are you arguing? So when I'm telling Mark Dice that
I never
Nick
said
Fuentes
he wasn't.
is a white.
Well, I felt like in the Mark Dice situation, I felt like you were interjecting for no reason, and you were feigning concern, really just to call some other people white nationalists, just to have a little more poke at some conservatives.
So, for PSA Sitch to point out to Mark Dice that he's defending a neo-Nazi, that's butting in. Apparently, you can just butt in where it's not deserved on Twitter. but no bullshit coming in there to then also uninvited defend Nick Fuentes. That is an extremely invited and pertinent. Wait, what is this? You didn't belong in that Twitter thread? Oh, I wasn't defending Nick Fuentes. I was just defending Nick Fuentes to own you for being in that Twitter thread?
Okay,
And
so
I don't think you had Mark Dice's best interest in mind.
I don't know
all.
anything about Mark Dice. What I do have a concern is that I don't
Because
want
you were
this-
pretending to like try to help him. You're like, I'm trying to help the guy. I'm just telling him this, and I'm like, so what, dude? He's just
My
tweeting about
concern
something.
is I don't
One
like
at
what's
a time,
happening with the
guys.
Nick Fuentes situation, where he's trying to label white nationalism as being traditional conservatism. And I see that idea spreading. And I saw Mark Dice repeating this term and taking joy with the fact that white nationalists are disrupting Turning Points USA and Ben Shapiro talks.
Can you explain the background of the situation, Sitch, just so people who aren't familiar with what you guys are talking about will know?
Okay, so I feel like we're getting so off track, so I don't even want to get onto this.
But
All of this was because PSA Sitch wanted to show some clips of No Bullshit talking to see how No Bullshit would react to statements he had made in the past, which No Bullshit responded to by saying that he was smearing him in typical anti-white behavior. Not at all a Nazi thing to say. And then Adam Friended is defending No Bullshit, as No Bullshit says that he was in the right to jump in and defend Nick Fuentes in a Twitter thread because actually PSA Sitch was being disingenuous when he warned Mark Dice that Nick Fuentes was a white nationalist when Mark Dice was tweeting in support of him. So we're like 18 levels deep into No Bullshit evading the question here. It's pretty astonishing, actually.
it's
Because I
important.
really-
You obviously had some exchange with Brooks on Twitter.
So
that
do
ended up.
you admit that you weren't trying to help Mark Dice?
Who the fuck cares why he tweeted at Mark Dice? Wait, what kind of person, other than a Nazi, gets mad that you tweet out, hey dude, the person you're defending is a Nazi? Like, under what contrivance could possibly lead? This is the weirdest, most spineless, like, deflection I've ever seen from No Bullshit. It's actually insane. Well, actually, I defended him because I was upset that you were being disingenuous when you pointed out that he was a Nazi to another person.
I was trying to
Because you don't even know who he is. You just said
Right.
you didn't know who he is.
Brooks, if you're talking to someone and you're trying to persuade them, how do you do it? Do you say, I don't give a crap about who you are and I don't care about who you are, but I want you to do this? Or do you say, look, I'm trying to help you out. You shouldn't want to
I know, but
associate with this.
but you just look like a sleazy car salesman, like saying, "Help me, help you." Like I'm helping
sorry,
you.
I'm trying
you
to be,
buy
I'm
this
sorry, I'm
car.
trying to be persuasive
You know what I
on
mean?
Twitter.
Like,
I'm sorry. I
yeah,
apologize.
you need
for
to
trying
work
be
on
persuasive
your
on Twitter.
how to win friends and influence people and read that book again or something.
No, that's
okay?
fine. So
Adam Friended laughing at his really lame joke and attempt to deflect. I think that Adam Friended is a crypto fascist now. I initially thought he was just some dumb shit lib. He's either too like stupid to recognize the difference, or he's a crypto fascist.
But what I'm
okay,
getting
that's
at
fine.
is you were
So
feigning
let's-
concern for Dice
First of all,
while he
no.
was
I
trying
feel
to
like
dunk
no.
on Kirk.
You guys,
And I was
one at a
just like
time,
not
okay?
having it.
Okay. I find it amusing that you're complaining.
Also, it's rich for No Bullshit to talk about feigning concern when he will feign concern to defend any piece of media or any or any like series or any movie whatsoever that owns the SJWs, and how he'll feign concern for women's sports when trans women get involved, and he'll feign concern for comics even though he's never read the original Watchmen. Yeah, I remember his Watchmen video where he clearly had never read the original comic, but he feigned concern for the authenticity of the series because the new movie tackled issues of racism or something, as though the original comic didn't, or the new TV series, I'm sorry. No Bullshit's entire job is feigning concern for pieces of media when it gives him a point from which he can make white nationalist talking points.
That I'm feigning things when I don't believe a word you said about white nationalism and alt-right. And the reason I don't believe it is because I have this stream from 2 years ago, from last year, from January of 2018, where you're speaking with white nationalists who are talking about
So
wanting
you
a white
think I'm a
ethno
secret
state.
racist?
And wait, here's the problem. In this stream, you literally just said, I've never heard someone who wants 100% white ethno state. Then you just said, Oh, but Nick Fuentes, I agree, he's a white nationalist. But then you just said, "Oh, I understand."
Well,
Richard
actually,
Spencer,
I see
he's a
the
white
chat
nationalist.
corrected
Oh wait,
that. I don't
I was
actually-
talking
One at a
to
time,
Greg.
guys.
I was talking to Greg Summers in January of 2018, and he's literally talking about wanting 100% white ethnostate. So how can I trust what you're saying?
Well, I still don't believe that 100% claim of yours is true. Like, I don't think you know what you're talking about.
He said
because
he-
you've already
What?
He said he wants
like
to outlaw
100%
interracial marriages.
is much different than like a possible mixed percentage. But the whole point is, I don't care about that shit. Like, I don't talk about like white ethno nothing. Like, you're the one bringing that shit up, and then
That's
you have
why I'm
me,
at. Why did you go?
I've never seen anyone believe in 100% white ethnostate. What about this clip of you being with people who are openly advocating for a full ethnostate? Oh, well, I don't really care about them. I have to stop it here. The whole stream, the whole 4.5 hours is like this. It's actually astonishing. Yeah, no bullshit. No bullshit. Sargon and Jesse Lee Peterson are honestly not that far away from each other. This dude is fucking crazy. Yeah, the Sargon defense, I don't care. Well, actually, I don't care about that. Nah, that dude's fucking wild. Anyway, if you guys ever want to like inflict self-harm, you should watch the entire fucking video. It's so bad. I didn't watch the whole thing. I skipped around a little bit. I don't have the mental, I lack the mental fortitude to go through the entire thing, you know? I'm weak. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he tell Destiny he could see the value of ethnostates? Yeah, he's a huge fucking coward. What do I think of xenofeminism? I'm gonna go with yes, just based off the name. Yeah, no bullshit actually, and I can make fun of no bullshit pretty pointedly because no bullshit actually directly attacked the appearance of my girlfriend. Check it out, it's us. It's on his weird like alt account. It's for gender and race abolitionism. Well, that's something I'm in favor of. Anyway, yeah, no bullshit attacking other people's appearances. True! My ancestors used to enslave thee pieces of shit. When they look up, they see a face like mine looking down at them. They see a face like mine, looking down at them. I don't really care, about these fucking kikes and octoroons. Damn. Balthazar with the $2, 3 a day, every day. True. Don't know what you're referring to, but true. NP17 with the $2 is a socialist playing stocks immoral / hypocritical? I don't think so. I'm fine with lefties doing pretty much anything within the system. Operating within it doesn't really bolster the system because there are too many agents acting to defend the system whether or not we act within it. All we do when acting within the system is secure relative power within the system and increase the likelihood of us being able to make steps in the future. Uzuki with the tier 1 sub, thank you, comrade. I've come in $28, I've come in $30, but I've never come in $29. Hey, listen, all it is 6 bills, okay? Not too hard to put together, comrade. I think you can do it. Crazy Monk with 27 with the $5. Vosh, that last video was actually good and you should go back to it later. No BS had a show called Brooks Show where he would do a CinemaSin style video but worse and add in Nazi dog whistles. Did you just donate that to me, like right now? No, you donated that to me 18 minutes ago. That last video was actually good? Oh, you mean the one the gay one did. The gay kitty. Why do you look like you're in a Skyrim EMB mod? What do you want from me? Listen, the lighting will come in soon. Here, you want lighting? You want fucking lighting? Here. Get over here. Deploy. Okay, it doesn't do that much. It's not in the right place. It's too big. That ain't the right lighting setup. We'll get it, though. We'll get it. Are there any good factions in Skyrim? I don't... John Berger with the $5. Thank you. Have you ever heard of Mark Fisher's essay, Exiting the Vampire Castle? It's pretty much the first leftist essay against liberal woke scolding. It was written in 2013. Rip Mark Fisher. I have not read it, but I've heard of it plenty of times before. I actually tried reading it once. I just have very, 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 very little patience. And I ended up skipping, just read the beginning paragraph and the end paragraph. But one day, I'll read the entire thing, no doubt. And I'm sure it will be lovely, and I will benefit tremendously from the knowledge that I will be adding to my skill. I can only hope. I heard there were a lot of like woke libs and what have you who made fun of him after his death, who called him a reactionary. Did they get out of the vampire's castle in the end? We are still in the vampire's castle, comrade. Log the Dog with the $1. Bullets are the only legitimate cancel culture in Minecraft. True! And Coladict with the gifted tier 1 sub. Thank you, comrade. You and Hyena should start watching Doctor Who from season 5. Absolutely not, Coladict. Not a chance in the world. Not a goddamn chance in the diddly darn world. Absolutely not. Not even close. We're not doing that. For one, we're not Britmonger. For two, we're not cringe. That is with Potato? Can you react to spirit science? I'll fucking ban you if you keep spamming, my friend. I'm not doing the Space Jews video. It's literally an hour long. Why would I ever do that? You know what? I'm doing it. I take it back. I'm doing it. I want to. I have an urge. Oh, no, no, no. All right.
Over the last few thousand years, we have warped our own history. Our stories of the past have been changed, altered, mistranslated, and completely been misunderstood as we rounded the curve on the precession of the equinox.
This sounds like the original voice actor for Extra Credits, doesn't it? Doesn't this sound like the original VA for Extra Credits?
Modern views of our history account for many things, but completely dismiss many very important pieces in the puzzle. For example, the Pyramids of Giza. There is no modern theory that accounts for how these could have been made.
What?
Individually, each block cannot be pulled even with 50 men pulling it, let alone drag it for hundreds of miles and then stack them on top of each other 450 feet in the air, in such a precise way that even modern technology can't achieve. Not to mention having it lined up precisely with both Orion's belt, a golden mean, and Fibonacci spiral, and be a primary nodal point of every sacred site on the planet. And that's just one example. Our history is not what we think. Many things that we've been led to believe to be true simply is not. This has got to be the biggest. The field of
Wait, they had me for a second. At first I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure they learned how they build the pyramids. And then the nodal site that resonates with the arcane energy of all mysteries and the whole shit. Okay.
Archaeology recently saw some monumental discoveries that are rocking the foundation of what we think we know about ourselves. Many ancient cities such as Babylon, Erech, and Akkad that were written about in the Bible and other ancient texts were always thought to be myths because no one could prove they existed. Then, one of them was found. This led to finding another, and then another. Inside one of these cities, archaeologists found thousands of cylindrical clay tablets hidden deep within the earth under this ancient city. The tablets were completely covered in text, written in cuneiform, and tell an ancient story that spans back over hundreds of thousands of years on this planet, describing the history of the Earth and the origins of the human race in great detail.
Whoa! What the fuck is happening? This is so much cultier than I thought it would be. Holy shit. Wait, is this guy like a lolcow, or do people buy into this? Oh no, people buy into this. Oh no. I can't believe the Extra Credits guy. No.
Detail. Now, the first thing we all want to do is just say that they were making things up. They didn't know the history of Earth, and they were simply creating tales to explain where they came from. However, if this was true, how can we explain how they knew so many things about the universe that would seem impossible to know? Not only did the Dogons know all about the distant planets in the solar system, but so did the Sumerians. They described them all in great detail in these Sumerian records. They also knew about the precession of the equinox. That's a tough one for a historian to understand, because it takes over 2,000 years of continuous observation to actually learn that the Earth has a wobble. The Sumerians had this information from day one.
Whoa. Wait, am I supposed to be debunking this? Guys, really quick hot tip. If you are ever watching a fucking YouTube video animation that is an hour long and is telling you about the secret history of the universe and how all the chakras align, don't trust them until they start busting out the academic sources, okay?
One of their civilization. A man named Zacharias Sitchin spent a long time transcribing these texts and had put them all together in his books, but many others have also done the same, and the interpretations are always very similar. Not only that, but Thoth has also shared information about this with us, and his account matches the Sumerian records.
What? Thoth? Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, I thought this was all unsubstantiated, but if Thoth backs this up, oh, yeah, no, good. No, please, carry on.
Adamus and other channelings discuss it as well. If you see all of these records and sources, there is a huge connection between the stories. Now, this story spans back hundreds of thousands of years into our past. It talks about Tiamat and Nibiru, the Nephilim, seeding the human race.
The Nephilim? Like from Diablo?
Adam and Eve, and the children of Lemuria. This portion of the story is really interesting, but not the most crucial to know. We're not going to be covering this at this time. We are, however, going to be picking up the story at the end of Lemuria, and discussing the events of Atlantis up to present day. What I'm going to tell you is a mix of what these records say, along with what Thoth has told us for some finer details. Please have your own experience while watching this. I'm not going to tell you that this is fact. I am simply saying, decide for yourself.
Oh my god, they did the meme, dude. They did the meme. Dude, I'm not telling you all this is fact or anything. I'm just saying, you know, whatever you want to believe, man. Keep an open mind, man. Bro. What if the whole universe is just a molecule in the universe of another universe? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What? Just the Ant-Men?
There was a time, long ago, when humans existed at a very high level of consciousness. We were interdimensional and were very psychic. We communicated through thought and emotion, much like how animals do rather than speaking or writing.
Animals use noises and pheromones and physical gestures to communicate.
Which would seem very primitive. We lived primarily on a large string of islands called Lemuria, but there was a consciousness shift. We moved up in consciousness, and the islands of Lemuria sank beneath the oceans. At the time of this shift, a new continent rose out of the waters. We called it Atlantis. Back in the early 1900s,
Atlantis was a
the
continent?
United States was similar to what's happening today. People began to learn about meditation and study ancient lands like Atlantis and Lemuria. We actually found quite a bit of evidence that Lemuria existed, and it had to do with coral. See, the ocean floor does rise and fall. Coral can exist up to 150 feet under the surface of the water.
What? The ocean floor rise? How many wrong things do you need to believe to buy into this? Wait, this is incredible. What is it Hitler said? If you can get them to believe a big lie, you can get them to believe a little lie. You know? Right? That's how it works, right? So if you just lie in the entire video, you do more to engage in a mental paradigm shift than if you just do little lies. Oh, slap and slap. That's a tough question, or scap and slap. Sorry, that's a tough question, comrade. That'll take a lot of research, and there are probably people out there more suited to that task than I am. But I'll try to do more videos on it in the future.
In 1910, the surface of the ocean was probably higher because they were able to see coral rings heading away from Easter Islands for a great distance.
Wait, how does the ocean floor rise? Wait, how does that work? Wait, somebody please explain to me how the ocean floor rises. What is the heart of the earth beating?
These rings were estimated to be found at 1,800 feet, which means that for them to have existed, they would have had to be much higher and sunk slowly.
What?
Probably more important, they also found the exact same fauna and flora from the Hawaiian Islands all the way to the Easter Islands.
What?
This is a great distance, but if you look at a map, you'll see a long string. That string, according to Thoth, used to run along the western shores of Lemuria. It is only on these islands that have the same
Tectonic plates? You stupid piece of shit. Do you sincerely believe that over a period of time of just 1,000 years, the sea levels would rise and then sink 80% of the distance to the surface of the water without changing the surface of the water? You can't change the fucking distance of the seafloor. The ocean rises with the bottom of the ocean. If you push the rock up, the water goes up too. What the fuck are you talking? There are people in chat who are like doing it right now. He's like, and then the seafloor rose to up to 80% near to the surface of the water, and we know it because we found coral. And you guys are like, oh yeah, well naturally, just tectonic shifts. Sometimes the ocean floor just thrums in the geological equivalent of a fucking Rapidash heartbeat. No, the water goes down the drain. Ah, true. True. It all falls down the Mariana Trench.
same flora and fauna. Same
Sections of the seafloor rise, but then other sections fall. Not to that extent in that time period. Oh God. Oh no. This is an anti-chat. This is an anti-chat video. The real enemy wasn't natural. The real enemy wasn't spirit science. It was chat.
trees, bugs, bacteria, everything. Science can only explain this if there were closer land bridges between these islands at one point. Although we were studying this at that time, World War I began soon after, and we lost interest in spirituality and the ancient lands for a very long time. After the sinking of Lemuria and the rising of Atlantis, at first the human race became scattered. We moved to various islands and continents all over the world because we didn't have a home.
Wait, so humans just lived on that segment of islands to begin with, and then Atlantis rose, and then we moved to Atlantis, and then we moved elsewhere on the planet? Why didn't we just move to elsewhere on the planet earlier?
Yet. We didn't know where to go. At that time, there were about 1,000 humans at a very high consciousness, more than all of the rest. They were called the Nacals. Today, we know them as Ascended Masters.
What?
The Nacals began preparing Atlantis to be our new home. They projected their energies across the surface of the continent in the form of the Tree of Life, not with 10 circles, but with 12, an extra on top on the island of Udal, and an extra on the bottom in the water. There were 10 components on the mainland, and even though it extended over hundreds of miles on the surface, it was projected to the accuracy of a single atom. We chose to move to Atlantis because of the Kundalini. In humans, the Kundalini is often referred to as the energy serpent that runs up and down your spine. When activated, it provides an immense amount of energy through all of the chakras.
Holy shit.
The Earth itself also has a Kundalini because the Earth is alive, like an organism, running from the center of the planet to a specific place on the surface. Wherever the Kundalini resides, the people there become the spiritual leaders of the world. The Earth chose Atlantis to be the new energetic center of the planet. After Atlantis, the Kundalini moved to the mountains of Tibet, which is why the Buddhists were the leaders in pure spirituality for the last 13,000 years. It was a very pure place. It moved again within the last 10 years, but that's a story for another time.
What? What? How? This explains everything. Yeah, don't hear you debunking any of this.
If you want to read more, check out the book The Serpent of Light by Drunvalo Melchizedek. Suddenly, in a single day, the Nacals breathed life into the Tree of Life on the surface of Atlantis. This created vortexes of energy rotating out of each and every circle. Once the vortexes were established, the children of Lemuria began to be called forth. Millions upon millions of Lemurians who had settled all across the planet began to be pulled.
Wait, I thought there were only 1,000 humans. Are these different humans? Wait, what are these? Are there two types of humans?
Toward Atlantis. A great migration began. However, the Lemurian body of consciousness had only reached the age of 12 as a planetary consciousness.
What?
Because we were right-brained, we were a female species, like a 12-year-old girl. And some of our centers weren't working yet. They had worked with these energies, but only mastered 8 of the 10. Each migrating Lemurian was attracted to one of these 8 centers on Atlantis, depending on the nature of the individual. There, they settled and began to build cities. That left 2 vortexes with nobody using them, not a single person. These 2 vortexes were pulling life toward them, and in life, you can't have an empty place. Life will find a way to fill it. Similar to if you were driving along a freeway, following another car, and you drop too far behind, someone will fill the place. That's exactly what happened on Atlantis.
Thank you for that analogy. I don't know if I would have been able to pick this together if it weren't for that one. When does this pivot to race realism? Oh, a funny point, by the way. It's been shown that people who believe in stuff like this, people whose brains work this way, are more likely to believe in stuff like race realism or fascism. If you slip into certain forms of superstition or certain forms of naturalistically driven behavior theory, then you're much more likely to start to believe in stuff like race realism.
Though the Lemurians had only filled 8 of the vortex areas, Mayan records state clearly that there were 10 cities in Atlantis when it fell.
That's the most pixelated image I've ever seen in my life.
8 of the vortex areas.
Whew, boy! Did you decode these hieroglyphics from this image?
Records state clearly that there were 10 cities in Atlantis when it fell. You can see these records in the Troano document, which is now located in the British Museum. This document is estimated to be 3,500 years old, and it describes in detail the sinking of Atlantis. To fill these 2 empty vortexes, according to Thoth, 2 extraterrestrial races stepped in. Not 1, but 2 completely different races.
Oh.
The first race were the Hebrews, coming from our future. Thoth says that they came from off-planet, but we don't know where exactly. The Hebrews were kind of like a kid who went through 5th grade and didn't make it, so they had to do that grade over again. They learned all the math, the left brain stuff, but they didn't get the right brain aspect of evolving consciousness, the doing. They didn't graduate to the next level of evolution, so they had to do it again.
Okay, so as I said about being more likely to believe in race realism, not only are they Jews, they're Jews who failed at evolution because they had no emotional spirit. I see. Okay. All right.
They knew a lot of things that we didn't know yet and brought many concepts and ideas to us that we weren't aware of yet. Now, if this is true, this would explain quite a few things about the Hebrew people in general.
I can't escape the race realism no matter what I choose to put on, can I?
Seem to have many sacred geometries hidden within their culture. It also puts perspective on the story of Exodus. Perhaps Moses incarnated into that lifetime to free the Hebrews because they were not direct descendants of humans and were being treated unfairly. Or could it be that Moses was visited by an ascended master of the Hebrews who guided him to free their people? Given what we know about dimensions and consciousness, it definitely puts a fresh perspective on old stories that didn't make much sense. We could talk about this more, but let's continue for now. There were no problems caused by the Hebrews coming to Atlantis. They actually benefited our evolution. The other race that stepped in caused big problems. These beings came from the nearby planet of Mars. See, according to Thoth, Mars looked very much like Earth a little less than 1 million years ago. It was beautiful. It had oceans and water and trees that were just fantastic. But something happened to them, and it has to do with something called the Lucifer experiment.
What?
From the very beginning of creation, everything is simply an experiment. Creation itself was just consciousness creating and inhabiting itself in that creation.
What the I actually I can't believe it. I can't believe there are people who think like this. It's actually insane. This is actually insane. I need to become a fucking Posadist. Only through the cleansing light of nuclear fire is capable of purging the earth. Guys, this is an hour-long video, and it's part 12 of a video series. Here's 13 right up here. This is insane.
There is no divine plan. Spirit can do whatever it wants. Having said that, if Spirit decides to cut itself off from the rest of consciousness and create a separate reality on its own, it can do that too. This is called the Lucifer experiment. Because Spirit is God, it can do this. There is nothing wrong with that. We've kind of been led to believe that Lucifer is evil and the devil. This just isn't true. Lucifer is just another means of perceiving the reality. It is not a unity perception of oneness, but rather a duality perception of two-ness.
Dude.
There's a flower of life pattern for Lucifer as well, but that's
like, what if instead of Satan being evil, what if he just spiraled away from the cosmic wind of divinity and created an entire new reality using the cosmic spiral? Dude.
That's a big topic for another time. Anytime the Lucifer experiment has been attempted in the universe, it always ends in failure. The species will cut itself off from love and will become incredibly male, left-brained. What always ends up happening is that everyone becomes very greedy. There is no compassion for one another, and everyone ends up fighting until they end up killing themselves. More than 1 million years ago, the beings on Mars joined the Lucifer experiment, and it failed dramatically. Basically, they cut themselves off from the unity of the universe and created a separate reality. When the Martians severed the love bond, they became pure male, logical beings with no emotions.
Okay, one other point. I hate superstition so much. Notice how throughout all of the wacky nonsense shit is like biologically prescriptivist conservative social roles. So the Hebrews are right brain and had no emotional connection to the universe. And right brain means you're pure male and that you are all logic. And left brain is pure female and you're all emotion. Notice how as hyper woke fucking wild hippie shit this may sound, it's basically just a lunatic way of reiterating conservative social roles. Left brain is the logic one. Good thing I don't give a shit.
What happened on Mars was that they ended up fighting. Mars became a battleground. Eventually, it became clear that Mars was not going to survive. They blew their atmosphere away and destroyed the surface of the planet. Nova recently did an episode on planetary magnetics, and they found some interesting things about Mars. The planet didn't have a magnetic system, however the surface was magnetized, implying that at one point it did, but that something happened. Now,
wait, Mars doesn't have a magnetic system? That can't be possible. There has to be metal in its core. Oh, Mars does not have an intrinsic global magnetic field, but the solar wind directly interacts with the atmosphere of Mars, leading to the formation of a magnetosphere from magnetic field tubes. This poses challenges for mitigating solar radiation and maintaining an atmosphere. Interesting. That actually is interesting. I guess all of this is true then. I take it all back.
We've been discussing the star tetrahedron before, and now I want to give you a brief understanding of the Merkaba. The Merkaba was known in ancient times as the Chariot of Ascension. It is the star tetrahedral energy field around the body. All around the world, there are references to this in ancient texts. When activated to its full potential, the Merkaba, which is both a tool and part of your being, can be used to do the impossible, included but not limited to changing dimensions and traveling through the universe. Before Mars was destroyed, they built huge tetrahedral pyramids. They built 3, 4, and 5-sided pyramids, eventually building a complex that was able to build a synthetic Merkaba. After 1 million years or so, it's been eroded, but the proof is there. Now, because the Martians were severed from the Unity consciousness, they couldn't create a living Merkaba. They simply used it as a tool. They created a synthetic Merkaba to travel in time and find a new home. A small group of Martians tried to get away from Mars before it was destroyed, and that place they found was Earth. About 65,000 years in our past. They saw this little vortex sitting there, just pulling in life, with no one in it. They didn't ask permission. Being part of the Lucifer experiment, they just said, all right, let's do it. And they stepped onto that vortex, and in doing so, they joined and changed our evolutionary path.
Who could forget when the Martian Hebrew star brought a race of time-traveling, all-male Martians to the spiritual vortex on Atlantis?
Thoth's father, Thome, was one of the Nakals who set up and changed our evolutionary path. Thoth's
Hello again, Thoth and Thome.
father, Thome, was one of the Nakals who set up Atlantis on the island of Udal. That island, the top of the Tree of Life, was the brain of Atlantis, and on it was a small city called Poseidon. This city is what Plato was discussing when he said that Poseidon bore 10 children, the 10 circles on the Tree of Life. Poseidon was made of 3 rings painted in black, red, and white stones, and it was the symbol for Atlantis. The inner circle represented the Nakals, the middle circle were the priesthood, called the Maya, and the outer circle represented the regular people of Atlantis. We'll come back to this down the road. There were only a few thousand Martians who came to Earth through the synthetic Merkaba. The first thing they did when they arrived in Atlantis was try to take over the continent. They tried to declare war and invade. However, they were vulnerable due to their small numbers, compared to the millions of Atlanteans, and we finally subdued them. We were able to stop them from conquering us, but we could not send them back. When this happened on our evolutionary path, we now had the planetary consciousness of a 14-year-old girl. The Martians were an incredibly male species, and also very old. So what you had was a 14-year-old girl being taken over by a 60 or 70-year-old man. We had no choice in the matter. The Martians just stepped in and said, like it or not, we're here.
Wait, I thought they lost. Wait, how did they rape the planet spirit if they lost?
They didn't care what we thought or felt about it. Really, it was no different from what the settlers of North America did to the Native Americans.
But I thought we won. Wait. Wait, I thought we won. Didn't we beat them?
Once the initial conflict was over, it was agreed that the Martians would try and understand this female thing they lacked. This emotional feeling, which they had none of at all. Things more or less settled for a while, but the Martians slowly began to implement their left-brain technologies, which the Atlanteans knew nothing about. One after the other, the Martians kept putting out these left-brain inventions until the Atlanteans slowly began to see things through their left brain. We slowly began to become a male species. The Martians gained control, bit by bit, until eventually they had all of the power, as was their intention. The animosity between Atlanteans and the Martians never subsided, not even till the end of Atlantis. They hated each other. The Atlanteans were shoved down and treated like inferiors. It was like a marriage that the female component didn't like, but the male component didn't really care if she liked it or not. It remained this way for a very long time, until about 26,000 years ago, when the next phase slowly began.
I'm just... What I don't get is, how can you be so clinically insane to invent all of this in your head, but then bring it all back to incredibly archetypical, like, standard gender role shit? How do you bring it back to that? This would be like writing The Lord of the Rings and then having it all be an allegory for the necessity of, like, a regressive tax rate so the rich don't have to pay their fair share. Like, right? This would be like if the entire Elder Scrolls mythos was an allegory for the necessity of for the necessity of engaging in monogamy. Okay.
Before we can...
It just goes to show, by the way, where their creativity actually lies. We know that gender is a social construct. That's a fact. But these people who are so mystical, who are so spiritually enlightened, that they're able to make videos like this, these wild fucking videos, are still chained by conservative understandings of gender expectations.
Continue, we have to talk about polar shifts. See, in the 1930s, Edgar Cayce was channeling information for a geologist when he stopped and he said, "There's something you should know. In the near future, the Earth's poles are going to shift." Cayce was a brilliant man with a very strong connection to higher dimensions, where he communicated with...
What happens when your guys, what happens when your poles shift, by the way? I legitimately have no idea. Like, is that actually, like, what does that even fucking mean? Like, what are the practical consequences?
Other beings for the human race. Ultimately, it was because of his channelings that the belief system called New Age was created. This is again just putting what he was doing into boxes of understanding, because no one else understood what he was doing at that time. Nevertheless, when Cayce talked, people listened. Geologists began exploring the possibility of a polar shift, and they found something remarkable. A string of major pieces of evidence
You gotta move the pole back.
came forth and lent tremendous weight to what Cayce was saying, and they have now changed the world's view on the subject. Scientists believed that if there was going to be a physical pole shift, there would also be a change in the magnetic poles. Through studying lava beds, geologists were able to see where the planetary magnetics were when the lava beds hardened at certain depths. They found that the earlier magnetic poles were not where they were now, but in Hawaii. The last shift that took place was 13,000 years ago, and we will get there in the story soon. They did another test and found that it had shifted.
I actually can't handle the music only being in one of my ears. I actually can't do it. I can't do it. I can't tolerate it. Future skip!
Consciousness could interact with them without physically moving. It's hard to explain because you can literally shape your environment immediately through your consciousness in these higher frequencies. In that sense, we were creators, knowing and understanding oneness, beings of love. But then we fell. We dropped back down to this place called the third dimension. We also fell in consciousness back to zero. We forgot how to use the pineal gland and it slowly shrunk to the size it is now, like a raisin, where it's supposed to be eyeball size. When this happened, we forgot how to breathe source energy into our bodies and our lifespans went kaput. Eventually, we went from 900 years to what it is today. We had not experienced this dense reality that we had before, at least for a very long time. We were kind of like a supercomputer that gets completely wiped. No operating system or anything. We had these advanced physical bodies, but we didn't know how to use them. This is why today we are so physically advanced compared to pretty much all the other animals in this third dimension.
Wait, physically, human beings fucking suck. Human beings are slow, weak, have poor adaptability, we have poor sensory input. Are you kidding me? The only thing we have on other animals is our opposable thumbs and our brains. That's it. Our physical bodies aren't advanced in the slightest. It's our brains that are advanced. We actually physically suck compared to most animals. Yeah, we can run longer than any other animal, but for the most part, like, we're really shit predators. We fucking suck physically.
For a time, the survivors of the Atlantean Fall, and there were a few, were literally hairy barbarians. We even had to rediscover fire. The reason we're having such a hard time finding evidence of Atlantis is because for the most part, the events of Atlantis took place on a much higher dimension than our physical Earth exists on right now. Everything I've drawn of Atlantis can't be taken as that's what it looked like, because it didn't. This landmass did physically exist, but the Atlanteans were not inhabiting that dimension of its existence. If the warship hadn't been protected by the Merkaba, the Nacals would have lost their memories. They retained their memories when the Earth came out of the void and began their work once more. Thoth and 1/3 of the Nacals went to the Island of the Sun in Bolivia. Aragot and 1/3 went to Tibet, and Ra and the remaining third went to Egypt.
Wait, what was that?
Aragot worked once more. Thoth and 1/3 of the Nacals went to the Island of the Sun in Bolivia.
Oh shit! The coup! They were going after the Island of the Sun! Oh shit! The CIA!
Aragot and 1/3 went to Tibet.
And China invaded Tibet! Oh shit! Oh shit! It's fucking happening! Oh shit!
And Ra and the remaining third went to Egypt, where
The last piece! The last piece! Remember when Israel invaded Egypt? Oh shit! We're fighting over it. We're fighting over the Kingdom Heart keys. Oh shit!
they waited. Now, we're going to begin bridging the gaps between this story and our current history. In between the fall of Atlantis and the dawn of our first civilizations, who were the Egyptians and the Sumerians, there was a 6,500-year gap between them. What was happening to us in that time? We have to look at this precession chart again. This is where we fell in consciousness, point C, and this was our falling asleep phase too. Thoth, Ra, and the Ascended Masters were waiting until point D. They had to wait for humans to just evolve themselves over a 6,500-year time period until they were advanced enough to actually receive this new information that they were going to provide.
I like how this guy has to keep referring to human technological and social development as evolution. That's another really fashy thing. Like, you think they're actually physically evolving, or they're just developing technological and social progress?
Sometime in here was when the flood of Noah occurred. Because of the pole shift, the Earth went through an ice age. This is scientific fact. When the ice melted, it would have caused massive flooding. DNA is the physical manifestation of who you are. It is your soul's physical aspect. What we are seeing in DNA is changes in the codons. There's 64 possible codons in DNA, and humans only have about 22 or so. What we're finding is that there are 6 more codons being activated within these children, and they are choosing 2 of the 6. These kids are what we call indigo and crystal children, and probably the super psychics as well. Now, this is a chromosome. Basically, what this is lots and lots of DNA wrapped into this weird H-like shape. This is located in every cell, and is part of your body of consciousness. What Thoth tells us is that every level of consciousness seen here not only has its own consciousness grid, but its chromosome change as well. The second level, where we are now, has 44 and 2 chromosomes. To any scientist, this is basic biology.
Hey, do people with Down syndrome have, like, ascended brains? Are they, like, on another spiritual level? What's happening?
The first level, however, has 42 and 2, and this third level has 46 and 2. The fourth and fifth have 48 and 2 and 50 and 2, respectively. The primary physically visible difference between these DNA in all life is height. The first level has an average height of 4 to 6 feet tall. The second level, us, has an average height of 5 to 7 feet.
What? Men's average height is from 6 to 7 feet tall? Damn. Okay. I can't believe I'm a fucking manlet. Wait, then who's level 1? Level 1 is this dude? We're calling this dude out right here? This guy's just like, here's the video on ascended mankind. This is a level 1 human. And he just found a picture off Google Images of it, like a chubby looking guy? What?
4 to 6 feet tall. The second level, us, has an average height of 5 to 7 feet. Third are about 10 to 16 feet, which we are about
Oh.
to translate to. Fourth is 30 to 35 feet, and the last is 50 to 60.
Why?
You may remember a being named Metatron, the Hebrew archangel who is the perfection of what humanity is to become. He was 55 feet tall, that guy. The last two heights are far in the distant future for us, though. This is a place in Egypt today called Abu Simbel. The first thing you notice is that these statues are huge, but with the information about the DNA,
They made these statues to scale. We have proof the ancient peoples were huge. Look at the size of these statues. Have you seen the Statue of Liberty? Holy shit, dude. 18th century Frenchmen must have been on an entire other level. Holy fuck.
this paints a different picture. These beings would be in the 60-foot range if they were to stand. They were at the 5th level of consciousness. These beings on a different wall are 35 feet tall, 4th level of consciousness. Here are some 3rd levels as well. Archaeologists saw this and thought that it meant that the man was just much more important than the woman, when in actuality, the kings of Egypt had 5 different names, one for every level of consciousness.
What?
Some of the kings were even able to translate into different dimensions, and that's how they guided the population with the power of the gods. In Egypt, according to today's top
Hey, we did it again. Another way that this bullshit spiritualism reinforces fascist authoritarian ideals by assuming there's a biologically prescriptivist element to human genetic differentiation. Tall people aren't just tall, they're ascended god beings.
archaeologists and researchers, the Egyptians and Sumerians both began their civilizations right around the same time from each other, within a few hundred years or so. Both of these civilizations emerged out of nowhere with perfect writing abilities that were not imprinted.
What? Okay. You know what? I don't know enough history to contest that. Maybe the Egyptian and Sumerian systems did just emerge out of nowhere with fully developed writing systems. I don't know.
Upon since. When they first emerged, they were extremely sophisticated and clear, and slowly degenerated over generations. No archaeologist can explain how this happened or explain how it could have happened. They placed Egypt and Sumer into a special classification called stair-step evolution.
Somehow I doubt this. One other quick point of contention. Remember how fascism is based on the idea of an imagined past of glory where a superhuman variant of your current racial archetype wandered the world, controlling and doing great things. And now your state lives in a degenerated state that needs to be reclaimed and brought back to its former glory. This is literally like what leads people to fascist beliefs. Keep in mind, the Nazis believed that an ancient Nordic people who are all like 10 feet tall, the ancient Aryans, wandered the world and created all of the other races. Nazi racial theory sounds a lot like this. I mean, it's a different like flavor of bullshit, but this is very similar to Nazi racial theory. Hebrews and all. Not humans, they're aliens. And I mean, it fits so perfectly. Just replace all the weird Atlantean bullshit mysticism with Aryans and Nordics. They wander the world in their higher state of consciousness, but then the Hebrews, with no emotional connection to the world, arrive in alien ships from a Hebrew star and begin polluting the world with their emotional, hive-minded, in-group bias. Originally, the kind Nords coexisted with them, but slowly, seditiously, they began to subvert racially the purity of the Aryan world. And now we live in a degenerated state where the Jews are trying to finish the job. This is literally... That's because Nazis literally got their racial theory from Madame Blavatsky, who talked about this shit. Madame Blavatsky. A Russian occultist, philosopher, and author who co-founded the Theosophical Society. Yep. Yeah, this looks about like the kind of bullshit you'd expect to see here. Her theosophy has been described as representing a major factor in the modern revival of Western esotericism. Nice. All right. Good meme. Just point it out, guys. There's a reason why I hate mysticism.
What happened was, one day, Egypt got its language, full and complete.
Damn.
Then the knowledge leveled off. And then it got another massive leap a little while later. Then suddenly, they knew
Damn.
everything about water and moat systems just perfect. Then, a little time
What?
later, bam, they're masters of hydraulics.
What?
How did Egypt and Sumer do this? Well, this is what Thoth said. When we were evolving on our own for 6,500 years, Ra and the Ascended Masters were waiting in an underground city beneath the Great Pyramid. We'll come back to this in a bit. Thoth's son Tat formed a group called the Tat Brotherhood, which is a secret group that
Can anyone explain the lore to me as to why these people have bird beaks?
still exists today as protectors and keepers of the sacred temples. Today, they're still connected to the Ascended Masters. So about 6,000 years ago, some members of the Tat Brotherhood would wait until they would meet someone who could understand what they were going to teach them. When they found someone, they would just tune their frequencies to the third dimension and walk up and tell them information flat out. They said, hey, if you do this and this happens. The Egyptians would say, wow, look at that. Then they would go underground, wait another little while, and repeat the process.
Okay.
Over a short period of time, the Egyptian and Sumerian evolution shot up in stair steps. As for the Sumerians, they also received a more detailed story by those who were assisting them. They described to the Sumerians in all of the details they remembered. They said, this is the history of the planet, write it down. The Sumerians knew about the precession of the equinox because they were told it by the Nacals from Atlantis. After this stair-step period, we began to fall asleep further. Things got worse once more. It was our falling sleep stage of precession, and although the Nacals had given us a boost, we were consciously dozing off.
Do you think this guy has a video in 2012? Do you think this guy has a video like where he's predicting the end of the world? And then it didn't happen and he made a video on why it didn't happen? There's no way this guy didn't buy into 2012, right? There are some videos missing. The first video in his channel is Spirit Science 4, Male and Female Energy. Wait, did he delete all of his videos before 2012? Guys, his video starts off on part 4. And it's 7 years ago, back to 2012. Did he delete everything from before then? There were way more? Did he do it? Did this guy make a bunch of videos on how the world was going to end, and then he got embarrassed when it didn't, so he deleted all the videos on the subject and pretended that he never talked about the subject? He had a different channel before? I don't know.
Know ye not that ye are two is that male energy looks at parts and female energy looks at wholes.
I fucking hate the female-male hyper magic biological differentiation shit. We have to finish this. We're finishing this with some caveats, okay?
A place called Masada in Israel. Even today, Masada is known as the capital of the Essene Brotherhood. Now get this. In this brotherhood, there were two people in particular, a man and a woman. You might have heard of them. Mary and Joseph? See, it was part of the Ascended Master's plan that they would bring in a being who would show the pathway to Christ consciousness. He would come to Earth as a second-level being, a regular Joe, and achieve Christ consciousness through the course of his life. Then, the ascension process, the transitional experience from the second to third level, would go into the consciousness grid that was still being formed. He was able to transition because he was originally from these higher levels. That man is known today as Jesus, although his name at that time was Yahshua ben Hur. If Yahshua had not shown up, we would not have had that ascension experience available to us today. None of us would be...
Yep. Guys, no, I'm right. He re-uploaded all of the old Spirit Science videos. He re-uploaded Spirit Science 1, 2, and 3 later on. I think this motherfucker made predictions for 2012 and then deleted that shit after it didn't pan out. I guarantee it. This dude's fucking insane. Look, Spirit Science 2 right up here. Spirit Science 1, 2019 Deluxe Remake. Published this year. This motherfucker deleted his shit. He's covering his tracks. He's covering his tracks. Nearly 8 years ago, Spirit Science 1 first debuted on the internet, sparking the beginning of a massive journey for so many of us, exploring the nature of consciousness, spirituality, and the mysteries of life. Today in 2019, we take that convo to the next level. In this brand new deluxe edition of Spirit Science 1, we've taken all that you loved about the original Spirit Science 1 and transformed it with updated information, a number of scientific experiments, and brand new drawings, many of which are recreations of the original art. I wonder what information you updated it on the videos that you published before 2012. Just remember that underneath all of the insane faux hippie spiritual mysticism that you see here is the mind of a grifter who knows that his credibility would be damaged if he was shown to still be peddling the 2012 Mayan end of the world myth after it was proven to have not taken place. So he deletes everything that can actually be scrutinized and means tested. He deletes any evidence of it not coming true.
Be aware that these higher levels of understanding even existed, and we would destroy ourselves. According to what Thoth said, Mary and Joseph mated interdimensionally.
Oh.
Mary could have been a virgin physically, but she mated with Joseph in a way that would allow a soul from a higher reality to come down to earth and have a human experience. Usually, this is impossible to do otherwise. Through Yahshua's work, he came here just like us, a total human being, but he went through these 3 important stages: final death, resurrection, and ascension, and gave us these experiences so that we could access them down the road. Now, as we all know, the story of Jesus has a missing piece. He was a child, disappeared for some time, and then showed up again when he was 30. In a book called The 18 Absent Years of Jesus Christ, the leading theories about where he went was actually out east to either the Himalayan or Tibetan mountains, where he became an enlightened guru. He brought his teachings back to the world after that. If you remember from part 1, the Kundalini of the planet was residing in Tibet at that time. They were very spiritually adept people living there, and remain so today. Now, on the topic of Christ, there's something else I'd like to bring up. The Lord's Prayer.
Jesus went to Tibet?
Today, we know this as the only prayer that Jesus taught. But did you know it's actually a geometric prayer meditation?
Oh my fucking God.
A man named Bodhi McCoy spent over 20 years working with this prayer and analyzing it with sacred geometry, and has discovered some incredible synchronicities. In his book, Live the Promise, he explains how the original prayer, not the extended version mind you, has 7 segments or thoughts, which align perfectly with the 7 chakras as well as the 7 original branches of yoga. Bodhi teaches how to do this prayer meditation, as well as meditations him and his wife have developed based on the Lord's Prayer, called heart dances. It's really quite incredible to see how it all works with the pure geometries of the universe. If you wish to learn more, check out livethepromise.net. If you study Christian religion and Egyptian religion, you'll actually find that they parallel in almost every way except for the Egyptians' understanding of God. Most evidence shows that Christian religion came out of Egyptian religion, and then later they went back and discredited the Egyptians.
This is so fucking...
Around 300 AD, there was a council called the Council of Nicaea, which was the syndication between the Roman political and religious authorities. Basically, the religious leaders and political leaders realized that they could unite and impose more influence on the people and control society through their unity. It's right around this time that we begin to see the manifestation of the New Testament, which was put together from scriptures and stories, some newer and some much older, which were renewed and superimposed on the life of Yahshua ben Hur, which today we know as Jesus of Nazareth. The term Christ actually stems back from much before the Bible. It comes from the word Christala, which is a word that derives from the original 7 core audible sounds of creation. When the creation of the universe occurred, the original tones were Ka, Ra, Ya, Sa, Ta, Ha, La. Christla actually was broken down on Earth into 2 words, Christ, which soon became Christ.
I just had a thought. Guys, what if we could apply what if we could apply the numerology of the universe, the sacred geometry of the universe, to more? What if there's more out there? Fucking gorilla wipe you fuck, secret, miserable, wipe, the kiddo, maggot, fuck fucking gorilla, wipe you the fuck, secret, miserable, wipe, kiddo, the maggot. Wipe the kiddo, maggot. It's backwards. Fuck maggot kiddo, the wipe miserable ass, fucking gorilla, I will wipe you the fuck out, secret arsenal. Arsenal! Through the unity of over 69 different religious texts. We've done it, boys! Someone write this down. Write this down! This is the coding of the universe. We're in, boys. I'll be arising to my I'll be arising to my enlightened fucking 18th state of reality any day now, okay? Any day now. Oh shit! Oh god. I think it's time. Alright. Goodbye, friends. It's been real. All right, I'm back. I'm back from the 17th dimension. It fucking sucked there. Everyone speaks Spanish. And literally everyone. Even God speaks Spanish. Fucking crazy. I don't speak Spanish. Couldn't talk to anyone. It sucks. Getting back to streaming.
And Hla, which became Allah, which were broken down and changed through oral tradition. The symbol for Atlantis was 3 rings inside of the other. The inside were the Nacals, the middle ring were called Maya, and the outer ring were the Atlanteans. The Maya's job was communicating the messages from the inner circle out to the regular people of Atlantis.
Okay.
When Atlantis sank, the Maya took their knowledge, a crystal skull with memories of Atlantis,
Crystal
and their
skull.
calendar, and went out to what today is called the Yucatan Peninsula, birthplace of the Mayan civilization. Their calendar is the most advanced, detailed calendar on the planet.
The Mayan calendar, huh? Is it? Did it make any predictions? In this video from February 1st, 2012? When was the actual end of the world supposed to be? December 21st, 2012 was when it was supposed to happen.
And it has its roots in Atlantis.
Okay, you didn't say it here, did you?
Over the last few hundred years, a group of people
Didn't
have slowly
specify.
monopolized the entire world
That's why the
into what it
video's
is
still
now.
up.
Today, there are 13 families that are among the richest families in the world. They have their hands in next to every organization.
Okay, these are the Martians, not the Hebrews, right?
Government and control over 95% of the money. They control our modern world from the very tippy top. Today, we like to call them the Illuminati, except that's not really who they are. The word Illuminati means enlightened ones, which was established long ago as a secret society that was focused around expanding knowledge through scientific
Wait, no, we still got the Hebrew star.
and spiritual understandings. Secret societies were not originally bad, but rather consisted of those who just kind of got it. They understood information that the average person at that time would not accept and demonize. These societies had to be kept a secret because of the control that the church had and refuted against what they wanted to explore.
Oh wait, hold on, 1 second. My girlfriend just pointed out to me that I didn't benefit enough from my spiritual enlightenment. Okay, hold on. 1 second. All right, one more time. 17th dimension. Oh no, the filter doesn't work. God damn it. It doesn't work on the actual cam, only in the preview. All right. Well, you know, it was worth a try. Can we fucking finish this video?
This is where Freemasonry originally comes from. If you do the research on the time periods, what probably happened was that the church, who had the majority of the control at the time, probably infiltrated some of these organizations to make sure that they were not creating plans to expose information and destroy the world order that they had created. This led to the church exposing some of the societies as devil worship and blasphemous, and fear of these groups rose. Over time, many secret societies branched off by those who were corrupt or previously infiltrated by the church, and gained more control through the church and large organizations that were being established. Today, there exist 13 families around the world who pretty much own the world, with over 95% of the money and a lust for greed, power, and control. More and more information has become present lately that many of these families may have DNA that is different than the rest of the human population. It is speculated that they share DNA that was passed down from the Martian race or other species races. They contain no love or emotion and are completely power-driven. This brings us to the end of the human history story for spirit science, but of course, it's not really the end.
We did it.
We've only really scratched the surface of discussing many of these topics. Secret societies, for example, would take another 2 or 3 lessons to really get into. Plus...
Okay. No, please. I can't do anymore. I can't do anymore. Holy shit. This level of mental illness is too much for me to handle. I can't do anymore. I can't do anymore. Holy God. Is this the most vanilla Nazi propaganda? Well, that's the thing. This engages in all of the same biological prescriptivism, all of the same national mythologizing, and all of the same conspiracism that Nazi mythology also relies on. This is why I'm so fucking skeptical of spiritualism as a concept, because spiritualism is a vessel through which you can push through a lot of really fucking bad ideas. Do you feel you have more female or energy? I hate that dichotomy. Watch Armored Skeptic's new video. It's this shit, but for Aryans with great skulls. Doesn't Armored Skeptic, like, jokingly play along with conspiracy theories? Sorry, but pointing fingers and laughing isn't an argument. Can you come up with some actual points, or are you too dumb? Wait, Farty Boy. Wait, Farty Boy, don't do me like this. Are you being for real? Wait, Please say psych. Please say psych. I can't debate someone on this. Are you kidding me? I'm not. No. Evelyn Nowicki with the $10. Thank you so much, comrade. Oh my god, this channel was a huge part of my brainwashing from middle school. Having mental health issues and having unlimited access to the internet was not a good combination at 11 years old. Yeah, I agree. It is really damaging to people who maybe have vulnerable mentalities, for them to see comparatively well-produced, high-level conspiratorial propaganda videos of bullshit mysticism. Yeah, that actually can be really destructive to a person's processes. Thank you for the donation, comrade. Sorry, I'm mad. How do you even fucking approach this? You just ask for sources. That's all you can really do. Caius with the $1. Yeah, spirit science is a cult. Also, I used to run in with a lot of these weird conspiracy circles. So if you ever want to talk about that or have questions about what the fuck they mean, I'd be down. I might want to talk about that in the future. Did I hear something earlier about you debating Sargon? Yeah, it looks like I'll be debating Sargon tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific. "1 p.m. Pacific, we're debating Sargon of Akkad, apparently. That'll be fun. Caius, the $1. Also, would you ever consider looking the Prim Reaper? I've suggested her channel to be done a few times, but I don't think it ever was. She's an anti-feminist MRA type. Her latest video has some big cringe. Yeah, I can go over it. The Prim Reaper YouTube. Hi, I'm the Prim Reaper. I'm here to kill some ideological nonsense. Oh, comrade, I know this channel. The reason why I didn't do this channel was because it's too small. I don't want to give too much attention to channels that I feel would benefit from my scrutiny. Sake Tanuki with the $5. All I can say to that insane bullshit is...
Hey, Keeper, you a pirate, man.
That would explain everything.
Come on.
True! That's true. True. Thank you, comrade. Professor Studs with the $5. Hey, Stream Daddy, my D&D stream is having its premiere episode on Sunday, and I was wondering if you would signal boost it. It starts at 9:30 p.m. EST. Professor Studs on Twitch. Heart you, comrade. I can signal boost it. I don't know how effective it's going to be. The point-by-point advertising, but apparently at 9:30 p.m. EST or 6:30 p.m. PST, the lovely Professor Studs on Twitch is going to be having themselves a goddamn D&D stream. D&D streams are a lot of fun, comrade. I mean, I do a D&D stream after all. Here, I'll post the message in chat. Best of luck to you, Professor Studs. I hope all of you have a wonderful time. In my experience, D&D streams don't get much in the way of attention. It's mostly just for the fun. You get, that nice performative social element to go along with it. JK with the $5. Thank you. To make a long story short, fascists love BS. Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you. And Bren Flakes with the $10. Yo, comrade, my dad deadass believes this ancient alien stuff. I grew up hearing all of this. He has every one of that Zakaria Sitchin dude's books and told me about it constantly, very mentally ill. Yeah, stuff like this, I don't find it funny, even if it's like a fun story or whatever. If it was a fun story, phrase it like a story. There are legitimately vulnerable people who are mentally ill, who are really susceptible to this kind of bullshit, who feel empty and listless and will project those feelings onto some grand conspiracy of fucking ancient Hibernian memes and 19th dimensional aliens, rather than recognizing the real problems that actually exist in our society. It's really, really sad. So thank you, comrade, and I sympathize. Seas of Cheese with the incredibly generous $20. Thank you, comrade. History of the World Part 2, Jews in Space. Yeah. Why are the Hebrews the aliens? Can't there be any? I don't know, dude. So fucking weird. Thank you so much for the donation, comrade. I really, really appreciate it. You should go over the moon landing is fake conspiracy and debunk all that shit. I don't like going over conspiracy theories. It's really boring. So is the moon landing conspiracy theory. It's a bunch of incredible fucking it's very specific skepticism in certain respects and very uncritical open acceptance of facts in other respects. The people who engage in those kind of conspiracy theories are just not rational people. I don't think they can be convinced by rational arguments. Lexify with a very generous tier 3 subscription. Vosh, what the fuck? Hey, I gotta relax too, comrade. Thank you very much for the dono. I really appreciate it. Can you talk about pan cis people being called chasers by pan women and trans women online? Pata Negra, I have literally never seen just a regular pan cisgender person being called a chaser for being like into all people, including trans women. If it does happen, I think that's very stupid. Thank you, Lexify. Duke with the $6.90, a donation in the universal divine celestial number of the gods. True. Please open my Martian Kundalini with your tetrahedral construct, Ascended Master. All right, I will. All right, I did it. It was beautiful. I think the stream might have glitched out for a second. It's probably for the best. Your virginal third dimension eyes couldn't handle the glory of my tetrahenes. Anyway. Ferdy Goat with the $5. First time donating. Take my dirty furry money to heal your non-enlightened spirit. In all seriousness, this stuff is like a fever dream. Yeah, the difference is with fever dreams, you stop believing in it after you woke up. Damn, I'm tired of being called a chaser dog. Well, Patanegra, are you doing any weird chasery stuff? I'm not like trying to impugn you or anything. I just never get called a chaser. Actually, I've been called a chaser a few times, but they were mostly from woke skulls, so fuck them. Gotcha, Ninjesus. I'm glad you're out of there. And thank you, Fierdico. Scott Peters with the $5 got to do a rhetorical criticism on any cultural artifact. Any suggestions? A rhetorical criticism on any cultural artifact? I don't really know what that means, to be honest. What's a chaser? A chaser is a derogatory term for somebody who fetishizes and overly sexualizes trans women. It's not good to be a chaser. It's like you objectify them, you reduce them down to their genitalia and stuff. Been called a chaser for having non-binary pronouns in my Twitter bio. Those SJ tankies are truly insane. Oh, okay. That's pretty cringe. On any cultural artifact, any rhetorical criticism at all? Why not the Hillary versus Trump debates back in 2016? I remember I had a lot of fun going over those back then. Theodore Rush with the $5. Hey, be a rabbit hole. Watch videos similar to this in middle school, cringe, and sure enough, some race IQ shit popped up in recommended. Dropped it shortly thereafter, the pipeline exists. Yep. Wherever there is irrationality, anti-intellectualism, anti-skepticism, and conspiratorial thinking, the alt-right lurks. There we go. Now we've got some light coming in from outside. We'll get our new lighting set up soon, okay? Seas of Cheese with the additional $5. Thank you. Of course, ascended beings taught the Egyptians language and hydraulics. No way brown people could figure that stuff out on their own. Yeah, there's a really weird juxtaposition between the patronizing of foreign cultures and their their lauding, you know? So they're simultaneously highly enlightened fourth dimension spiritual creatures and not smart enough to engage in the same kind of technological and social developments other civilizations have engaged in the past. It's this really weird, like, fetishize their spirit, deride their intelligence juxtaposition that I think really defines post-colonial white fetishization of foreign cultures. Far Eastern myth of the $5. I don't know, Vosh. According to this video, we were all 14-year-old girls once. And through Jewish space magic, we could probably go back to that. I know I'm totally convinced. I think I would have a lot of fun being a 14-year-old girl. I could be young again. That's almost half my age, right? I could go back to, that would have been 2004 and introduce the dab to people. Why are you guys oofing me? You don't want to be a kid? Oh, I thought we were gender abolitionists here. I don't give a fuck whether or not I'm a boy or a girl. What the fuck is wrong with you guys? Ah, yeah, true, Mega Drive. 14 was not a good year. Yeah. I hated being a teenager. Being 14 sucked. Whatever. Booze Cruise with the $5. Amazing. Yes! And Ghost of FDR with the $5. The point about writing popping up out of nowhere is really infuriating. As a history student, Sumerian writing used tokens about 4000 BCE and evolved over thousands of years. SMH this video, lol. Yeah, at the very least, I'm not a history major. If I was, I imagine that video would have been substantially more infuriating. Wonderful, wonderful with the $2. Elders of Zion, we weren't far off. And Nail Garden with the $5. I'm pretty spiritual, but I don't argue for it, and that video was dumb. Pagans need to kick out Nazis. Pagans will never kick out Nazis. There's too much, there's too much of a union. There's too much. There's, you know, it's, I'm sorry. Joshua O with the $5. Spirit Science narrator is Jordan, and he raped a girl in his group. Look it up. Uh-oh. Here's the creator of Spirit Science, Jordan Dushniks, admitting to rape and playing apologetics about it. Oh, video unavailable. Uh-oh. Anyone else think they could pull this video? Any of my fucking chat detectives? Apparently there's a video of him basically, Well, we have chat description to go along with. This is literally a rape scenario. She cried and said to stop, but he kept going and she wasn't receptive with it to begin with. She said she was depressed and went into a room to be alone. Interesting. Damn, I guess all the spiritual enlightenment in the world couldn't help him in his male brain to avoid raping a girl. Why are they all named Jordan? I don't know. Thank you for the info, JShow. I'll be sure to bring it up in the future. Trianon with the $5. As a sort of mysticist who is also too rational to be willing to just take videos like this as truth, what would you recommend as a method to rationally investigate things beyond the scientific method? Trianon, I'm a materialist. I don't think that you can rationally investigate things beyond the scientific method. I mean, you can engage in reasonable level of inference, like, for example, in social science, or when I say that no bullshit is a Nazi, I can't scientifically test that using the scientific method. But if you're talking about things beyond the purview of academic study, if you're talking about things beyond the limits of material science, I don't think you can. You can't rationally investigate it. Anything beyond that is guesswork. And I think it's irresponsible to try and base your life or base your decision making or base your reasoning off of stuff that you have literally no ability to make reasonable decisions on or guesses on. I don't like horoscopes. I don't like the fucking astrology signs. I don't like moon planetary charts. What's with pagans being Nazis? First time I heard about this. No, not pagans or Nazis. Nazis are pagans. Nazis are obsessed with Nordic mythology. If you look through like Nazi iconography, it's literally packed to the brim with pagan symbols. Frenic31 with the $1. The first guy I tried to befriend in college turned out to be in some weird spirit science shit. He tried to sell me on all technology being given to us by polysex god aliens. He said he'd give me ancient scrolls as proof, never saw him afterwards. Fucking weirdo, dude. Well, dodged a bullet. And Posadas John with the $1. Yeah, the idea that aliens have visited us and influenced our history is crazy. Obviously, if we were already visited by aliens, they would have brought us socialism. Our space comrades will come one day. One day, comrade. Vosh, my sister is Wiccan and she is far left. It's not that strong of a union. Dude, Nazi iconography and Nazi racial science are both literally based on paganism. I'm not saying all pagans are far right. I have never made that statement, and I'm glad that your sister is far left. But there is no denying that Nazi ideology is derived from pagan mythology. They'll openly tell you it, too. They're not shy about it. Nazis are constantly running around with Nordic runes, talking about ancient mystical pseudoscience. What's going to be the topic of Sargon's debate? I'm probably just going to spend the entire time asking Sargon what he believes, because I have no fucking idea what Sargon believes. Twilight Monk with the $1. You should check out Bread Pains on Twitter if you haven't already. They're like a leftist version of Stone Toss. Yeah, I have seen Bread Pains. The right now, the one that I like the most, and I noticed after I made that video on we need people to do like lefty comics, we need people to do like lefty comics that are kind of like Stone Toss. I noticed some people popped up to do it. Not that I'm saying like they didn't have any good ideas on their own or whatever, but this one I like the most personally because they have a really like well-developed art style that's unique to them. It looks good too. I think it has that punchy element. They're called Spurgsy. They're pretty small on Twitter right now, but I'll bolster them 100%. I retweeted a thing of theirs. See, this is what I mean. It's punchy, it's goofy, it's easy to agree with, you know? The art is pretty good and performative. It's not as good or as iconographic as Stone Tosses are, but I'd say it's pretty close, actually. Oh, I mean, if pagans are kicking Nazis out of their communities, that's great, but that doesn't change the fact that Nazis have an interest in paganism. It's this kind of stuff, you know? And they do, and they're little... It's cute. Paganism in Nazi Germany was a fairly short occurrence. No, it really wasn't. Why are people arguing on this? Guys, if you like paganism, that's cool. Why the fuck are you lying to me right now and arguing that there isn't a relationship between Nazism and paganism? Just stop. Just chill. Oh, this one was fun. Thoughts on Rational Wiki? Well, Rational Wiki has an article that's making fun of me, so... Have they updated my Rational Wiki? Let's find out together. I'm a pro-market anarcho-syndicalist. Sure, yeah. Far edgier than the majority of breadtubers, something that has gained him considerable controversy. Yeah. Nazis are Christians with pagan aesthetics. Well, religion is all aesthetics. There's no such thing as sincere religious belief. Fucking at me. I've talked about this before. If they're Christian with pagan aesthetics, then they're not either. They are whatever they is most useful for them to be. I disagree firmly with this, like, oh, well, they're fundamentally Christian. They are whatever works for them iconographically. No one actually believes in anything religious. Religion is just a way of post hoc justifying behaviors you already wanted to engage in. Racists will use religion to justify racism. Anti-racists will use religion to justify anti-racism. It doesn't fucking matter which religion you subscribe to. That's why there are fucking crazy fucking Muslims over in the Middle East who are beheading people and blowing themselves up, and there are perfectly sane, reasonable Muslims over here in America, and they use the exact same religious text. The way you interpret it is derived exclusively from the values that you would have had anyway. All religion does is give you a divine justification for whatever it is you already wanted to believe in, with the exception of a few aesthetic things. I doubt anyone would be wearing headscarves without the religious justification. But even then, I don't know. There are nowadays fucking atheists who are saying that women who don't wear many clothing are seditious fucking whores who are asking to be raped. So no, I really don't think religion leads anyone to any beliefs. What was I saying? Okay, this looks good. He is pro-gun, loathes identity politics, and strongly advocates for free speech while also not supporting state-controlled hate speech. True. He supports Bernie Sanders? Damn right. I've only got the 3 controversies here. We've got the Poppy drama, and then we have the Twitter, Twitter/Thought Slime rant. I have so much more drama than this. We could fill up the whole page on the drama that I have going on. They actually haven't updated this in a while. Also, why am I still a draft? Why aren't I like a full-on... The v.gg thing is a nothing controversy. It's such a nothing burger. It's so boring. But you don't hate idpol? I hate certain types of idpol. Yeah, this hasn't been updated in a while. Why am I still a draft, dude? How many fucking views a month do I need before I'm relevant enough? Is 1.35 million views in the past month seriously not good enough to warrant having an actual fucking page? Get out of my fucking face, Rational Wiki. Get out of here. Your days are numbered. Your days are numbered. Yeah, I don't like liberal idpol. I don't like conservative idpol either. I like intersectional idpol. Draft Andy. Aren't you going to talk to Shu? Yeah, I'll talk to Shu. Could you debunk this old and popular vid called The Privilege Game?
Hello, everyone. I am your...
Oh, I remember this. Okay, yeah, I'll add it to my fucking to-watch list. Debunk later. I'll be beating the one janitor for views soon. Fuck yes. Godspeed me. All right, folks. Why do people like Shu so much? It's not about liking Shu on Head. It's about believing that Shu on Head has a large influence and that also she is of good character. Anyway, let me finish these donos, and then, guys, I have a secret for you. I wasn't the main attraction today. After I'm done here, I'm going to be turning the stream over to my lovely girlfriend who's going to be playing Night in the Woods over on Twitch. And by turning the stream over, I mean that I'll end my stream and I'll host her stream. You guys should go over there. Look, if you type !vermin, you can see her off. I think that, while I'm obviously the superior broadcaster, I think that she is a lovely, funny, friendly person to be around, and I strongly encourage you to go check her out. But before I do that, let me finish the last 3 donos. Squocialist with the $5, a Twitter thread claimed that in the future everyone will be mixed/mauve idea is a tool of colonialism to erase blackness. Agree or not? No. That's incredibly fucking stupid. How woke do you have to be to believe saying in 1,000 years we're all going to be pretty much brown colored anyway, won't that be great, is a tool of colonialism? Yeah, that's something colonial powers like doing. They liked race mixing and the abolition of whiteness. That's definitely a highly colonial concept. Yeah, Jesus fucking Christ. Hey, you know what really pisses me off? Woke fucking brown people on Twitter. Woke brown people on Twitter who aren't so much interested in racial justice as they are unironically advocating for basically racial separationism for brown people. Immortown Valkyrie with the 90 with the $2. The Thule Society was an actual thing, guys. Well, I don't know if it was controlled by somebody who had a beak, but maybe. An NPC Porky with the $1.10. Thank you. Vosh, your chakras are out of balance. You should fix it by walking on burning coal while donating all of your savings on Marianne Williamson's presidential campaign. Hey guys, do you think Marianne Williamson is actually a fan of spirit science? It would not surprise me. It would not surprise me at all. All right, folks. I love you all very much. Thank you for being here to test out the new camera. When I get the new lighting in, it's going to look a lot better, but until then, I'll continue to adjust the value settings, make it look clean. Crispy. It's gonna look good. It's gonna look nice. Sargon is talking shit about you before the debate. See. Okay. I'm not banning you, but only because the stream is about to end. Yeah, I've seen the Adam thing. All right. Farewell, my friends. Go check out Vermin. Vermin Hands on Twitch. Peace.